I would never have imagined that running for my life through a frozen forest would lead me to the most feared alpha king in the 5 territories, a man who saved my son and me from certain death, only to declare I'd never walk away from him again. They say he's a monster, this alpha king with golden eyes and blood on his hands, but I've seen something beneath his armor that no one else has witnessed. My son hasn't spoken a word in 3 years, not since his father was murdered before his eyes. Yet somehow he trusts this dangerous man who keeps us behind stone walls, while rogues hunt us from the shadows. The secrets I'm hiding could get us both killed. Or worse, they could break whatever strange connection is forming between me and this broken king who looks at me like I'm both salvation and temptation. Subscribe now and drop a comment if you've ever found yourself drawn to someone who terrifies you as much as they fascinate you. Because this story of survival is about to become something none of us expected. My lungs burn with each step. The snow feels deeper than yesterday, but I keep moving. I count breaths instead of fears. "Keep going, Eli," I whisper to my son. His small hand grips mine tighter. His eyes stay wide, watching the shadows between trees. He hasn't spoken in 3 years, not since that night, not since they came. The sun hangs low. I check our tracks, knowing they'll follow. They always do. Almost there. The lie tastes bitter, but Eli needs hope. Wind cuts through my cloak. The fabric might have been warm once before weeks of running, before the tears and repairs. I pull Eli closer to my side, sheltering his small body. We stumble forward. My legs tremble beneath me, muscles screaming. I haven't eaten in 2 days, saving what little food remains for Eli. The howls start as darkness falls. Distant at first, a mournful cry that makes Eli freeze mid-step. "It's okay," I say, tugging him forward. "They're far away." Another howl answers the first. Closer, much closer. "Run," I tell him, voice cracking. "Run now." Eli's feet pound beside mine. Snow crunches beneath our boots. His breathing comes fast, desperate. He doesn't cry. He never cries anymore. The trees thin. A small structure appears ahead. Stone chimney, wooden walls, broken windows. Abandoned, but shelter. "There," I point. "Go." Eli races toward the cabin. I follow, glancing back. Nothing yet, but the howls grow louder. Minutes, maybe. Not hours. The door hangs crooked on rusted hinges. I push Eli inside, then follow. My hands shake as I drag a heavy table against the entrance. "Hide," I tell him, pressing my silver knife into his small hands. "If they come, use this." Eli shakes his head. His eyes fill with tears. "I'll be right back," I promise. "I need to check the back." The cabin holds little: broken furniture, dust, silence. A forgotten hunter's refuge, perhaps. I find a loose floorboard near the fireplace and pry it open. "Here," I whisper, returning to Eli. "Get inside." He crawls into the space, curling small. I brush his dark hair from his eyes. "Stay quiet," I tell him. "Don't come out until I call you. Even if you hear—" My voice breaks. "Even if you hear me scream." His fingers clutch at my sleeve. His eyes ask what his voice cannot. "I'll be fine," I lie again. "I'll lead them away." The howls stop suddenly. Worse than their cries is their silence. They're close now, scenting the air, hunting. I close the floorboard, leaving a tiny gap for air. My own knife feels heavy in my hand. One blade against a pack of rogues. The odds crush my chest. I push the thought away. Move to the window. Watch the tree line. They emerge like nightmares. 4 wolves, larger than natural beasts, their fur matted with blood and filth. Their eyes gleam yellow in the dusk. Rogues, outcasts, the worst of our kind. They circle the cabin, sniffing. One shifts, bones cracking, fur receding. A man stands where the beast had been, naked, scarred, smiling. "Little Omega," he calls. "We can smell you." I press myself against the wall beside the window. My heart hammers so hard it hurts. Come out, another voice joins. The alpha wants his property returned. I bite back bitter laughter. Property. That's all I was to him. All omegas are to alphas like that. Possessions, breeding stock, things. We know about the boy too, the first voice calls. Bring him out, and maybe we kill you quick. Never. I'd die first. I'd kill them all first. The door splinters under sudden weight. They're breaking in. I grip my knife tighter, position myself before the hidden floorboard. They'll have to go through me to reach Eli. Wood cracks. The table slides. A wolf forces its head through the gap, snarling. Teeth snap at air inches from my leg. I stab downward. The silver blade sinks into fur. The beast howls, retreating. Blood darkens the snow outside. Bitch! A man's voice, pained and furious. The assault intensifies. The door gives way completely. 2 wolves charge inside, followed by men with knives and wild eyes. I slash outward, catching one across the chest. Run, Eli! I scream. Run now. I pray he stays hidden. Pray he doesn't listen. A hand grabs my hair, yanking backward. My head hits the wall. Stars explode across my vision. The knife falls from my grip. Where's the boy? Hot breath against my ear, fingers digging into my throat. I kick backwards. Connect with something solid. The grip loosens enough for me to twist free. Another rogue blocks the shattered doorway. I'm surrounded. Just tell us where he is, the first man says, blood streaming from the wound I gave him. Make this easy. Go to hell, I spit. He lunges forward. I dodge, but another catches my arm, twists it behind my back until pain whites out my thoughts. Check under the floorboards, someone orders. No, please no. I thrash against the hold. He's not here, I scream. I left him miles back. No one believes me. The leader moves toward the fireplace, scanning the floor. He sees the slightly raised board, smiles. I scream again, this time wordless rage. I throw my head back, connecting with my captor's nose. Bones crunch, his hold breaks. I dive for my fallen knife. Fingers close around the handle. The wall behind me explodes inward. Wood and stone spray across the room. Cold air rushes in. Snow swirls around a massive shape. A wolf, larger than any I've seen before. Black as midnight, eyes burning gold. The rogues freeze. Their faces shift from bloodlust to terror. King, one whispers. The beast lunges. Jaws close around the nearest rogue. Bones snap. Blood sprays the walls. The body falls, throat torn out. The others scramble back. 2 shift to wolf form, attacking together. The black wolf shakes them off like insects. His claws slash open bellies. His teeth find throats. The leader runs for the door. The black wolf catches him mid-stride. The rogue's scream cuts off with a wet gurgle. Silence falls. 4 bodies lie broken on the floor. The cabin reeks of death. The black wolf turns toward me. Blood stains his muzzle. Those golden eyes find mine. I raise my knife, back toward the hidden floorboard. The wolf changes. Fur recedes. Limbs elongate. A man kneels where the beast had been. He stands slowly, tall, powerfully built. Dark hair falls to broad shoulders. His face might have been handsome once, before life carved grief into it. Lower your blade, Omega, he says. His voice resonates with command. I'm not here to hurt you. Stay back, I warn. My arm shakes, betraying my fear. His eyes, still wolf gold, assess me. You're injured. I glance down. Blood soaks my side from a wound I didn't feel received. Adrenaline had masked the pain until now. It returns in a wave that makes my knees buckle. Eli, I whisper, vision blurring. The man steps forward. The child? I lunge with my knife, wild desperation lending strength. Don't touch him! He moves faster than should be possible. His hand captures my wrist mid-strike. The knife stops inches from his chest. I won't hurt your child, he says, voice gentler now. You're safe. The fight drains from me suddenly. Blood loss or exhaustion, maybe both. Please, I whisper. He's all I have. The man releases my wrist, steps back. Show me. My legs give way. I sink to the floor, crawling toward the hidden space. My fingers scrabble at the board edge. Eli, I call. Eli, it's safe. No response. Fear claws through me. The man kneels beside me, lifts the board easily, reaches inside. He withdraws a small, trembling form. My son, curled tight around himself. Eyes shut tight. Silent tears tracking down his cheeks. Eli! Relief makes my voice break. The man holds my son with unexpected gentleness. Eli's eyes open. Find mine. Then move to the stranger's face. You're safe now, little one, the man says. The cabin swims before my eyes. Darkness creeps at the edges of my vision. I feel myself falling. Strong arms catch me. The last thing I see is Eli reaching toward my face, his small fingers stained with my blood. Then nothing. I wake to warmth, an unfamiliar sensation after weeks in the cold. Firelight dances across canvas walls. A tent. The smell of pine and smoke fills the air. Something soft cushions my body. Furs piled to form a bed. I sit up too quickly. Pain lances through my side. My hand finds bandages wrapped tight around my ribs. Eli? Panic sharpens my voice. The boy sleeps. A deep voice answers. I turn toward the sound. The man from the cabin sits across the tent. Firelight plays across features too harsh for conventional handsomeness. A scar bisects his left eyebrow. Another cuts along his jaw. Where is he? I demand. The man gestures toward a smaller pile of furs beside mine. Eli lies curled in sleep, his chest rising and falling steadily. Relief weakens me. I reach out, touching his hair. He doesn't stir. I gave him something for sleep, the man says. He needs rest. Fear returns. What did you give him? Herbs. Nothing harmful. His voice carries authority that expects no challenge. Sarah mixed it. Our healer. I look around the tent again. Listen to sounds beyond the canvas. Voices, movement, the whicker of horses. Where are we? My camp, 3 miles from where I found you. Your camp. I eye him warily. Who are you? Something flickers in his expression. Surprise, perhaps. You don't know? I shake my head. Ronan Vale, Alpha King of the Northern Territories. The name hits like a physical blow. Everyone knows that name. The most feared ruler in the 5 kingdoms. The wolf who brought 3 packs to heal through blood and conquest. I try to stand. Need to grab Eli. Need to run. Pain drops me back to the furs. The wound in my side protests sharply. Don't, he says. You'll reopen your wounds. Let us go, I say, hating the pleading note in my voice. We'll leave your territory. You'll never see us again. Impossible. He stands towering over me. The woods are crawling with rogues. Darius Blackfang's men. They'd catch you before nightfall. Darius Blackfang. Another name whispered in fear. Exiled rival to the throne. Butcher of the Eastern Pack. Why would you care? I challenge. Why save us at all? His expression hardens. I don't tolerate rogues in my territory, or the murder of children. That's not an answer. His eyes find mine. What's your name? I hesitate. Names have power, but he could force the information if he wished. Lena, I say finally. Lena Moore. My son is Eli. The boy doesn't speak. It's not a question, but I answer anyway. Not for 3 years. Something shifts in his expression. Since when? Since his father died. The king moves toward the tent opening. Rest. Food comes soon. You didn't answer my question, I press. Why save us? He pauses, his broad back to me. Perhaps I'm not the monster stories claim. He leaves before I can respond. The tent flap falls closed behind him. I crawl to Eli's side, checking him for injuries, finding none. His face looks peaceful in sleep, younger than his 7 years. I kiss his forehead. I'll get us out of here, I promise. Somehow. Voices approach. I straighten, wincing at the pain. A woman enters, older, gray-streaked hair braided back from a weathered face. She carries a tray of food and a bag that clinks with glass vials. Good, you're awake. She sets down her burdens. I'm Sarah. The healer, I say cautiously. She nods, kneeling beside me. Let me see that wound. I let her check the bandages. Her hands move with practiced efficiency. The king brought you himself, she says. Carried you both through the snow. I say nothing. He rarely intervenes personally, she continues. Something about you caught his interest. We're leaving as soon as Eli wakes, I tell her. Sarah raises an eyebrow. With rogues hunting you? Foolish. More foolish to stay with the Alpha King. She hands me a bowl of stew from the tray. Eat, you need strength. The smell makes my stomach clench with hunger. I take the food, pride forgotten. The boy's father, Sarah says while I eat. He was killed by rogues? I swallow hard. By his Alpha, for defending me. Her eyes soften. I'm sorry. We've been running ever since. The stew tastes better than anything I can remember. 3 years. Different packs, different territories. Nowhere safe. Why are they hunting you specifically? I set down the empty bowl. I'm valuable merchandise. Unmated Omega. Proven fertility. Sarah's expression darkens. The Southern packs and their breeding programs. She spits the words. Barbaric. Valuable, though. Bitterness makes my voice harsh, especially ones who've already produced male children. She watches me closely. The North doesn't practice such things. No? What does your king do with Omegas, then? Collect them like trophies instead? We have few Omegas here, Sarah says. Those who live among us do so by choice, not compulsion. A commotion outside interrupts us. Raised voices, the sound of hooves. Sarah moves to the tent opening. Stay here. She leaves. I crawl to Eli, shaking him gently. Eli, wake up, baby. His eyelids flutter but don't open. The sleeping draft still holds him. I move to the tent flap, peek outside. A camp spreads before me. 24 tents arranged in a circle. Armed men stand guard at the perimeter. Horses stamped and snorted, tethered nearby. The king stands at the center, talking with a tall, lean man. Their voices carry. Following her trail, the lean man says. At least 8 of them. Darius grows bold, the king replies. Sending rogues so deep into our territory. What interest has he in a random Omega and her cub? The king's voice hardens. That's what I intend to discover. He turns. His eyes find mine across the distance. We move at dawn. Break camp. Double the guard tonight. I duck back inside, heart racing. We need to leave. Now. I gather Eli into my arms, biting back a cry as pain lances through my side. He feels too heavy, or I'm too weak. The tent flap opens. The king enters, sees me standing with Eli. Going somewhere? He asks. His voice sounds dangerous. Thank you for your help, I say stiffly. We'll continue on our way now. Into the arms of Darius's men? He steps closer. They've picked up your scent. They're coming in force. We'll take our chances. No. The word falls like stone. You won't. Anger flares. You can't keep us prisoner. I'm keeping you alive. His eyes narrow. Why does Darius want you, Lena Moore? I told you, I'm an Omega. There are easier Omegas to catch, he interrupts. Why send 8 men after you specifically? I clutch Eli tighter. I don't know. He studies me, disbelief clear in his expression. We leave at dawn for the fortress. Your fortress? No, we're not going there. You have 2 choices. He steps closer, towering over me. Come under my protection, or face Darius's men alone. Some choice. The only one I'm offering. He reaches out, touches Eli's hair with surprising gentleness. He deserves safety. My arms tremble from holding Eli's weight. The king notices. Without asking, he takes my son from me. Eli stirs, but doesn't wake. One night, the king says, laying Eli back on the furs. Rest, heal. Tomorrow we reach the fortress. And then? He turns to me. Something flickers in his gaze, something almost vulnerable. One night under my claws, Omega, he says, voice low, and I'll make you my queen. The words hang in the silence between us. His eyes hold mine, challenging, promising. I step back. I don't want your crown or your claws. What you want and what you need may differ. He moves toward the exit, pauses. Sleep. You'll need strength for tomorrow. He leaves me standing there, trembling with fear, rage, and something else I refuse to name. I return to Eli's side, stroke his hair back from his forehead. Just us, I whisper to him. Always, just us. But the king's words echo in my mind as sleep claims me once more. One night, under my claws, I dream of golden eyes and blood-stained teeth, of strong hands and gentle touches, of crowns made of thorns and promises wrapped in threats. One night. Dawn arrives gray and threatening. The wind carries the promise of more snow. I watch them break camp with ruthless efficiency. The king's men move without wasted motion. 20 warriors, Sarah tells me. The king's elite guard. Eli woke an hour ago, confused and frightened. He clings to my side now, watching everything with wide eyes. It's okay, I tell him, though nothing feels okay. We're safe for now. A tall man approaches, leading 2 horses, the same lean warrior who spoke with the king last night. Talon, he introduces himself with a short bow. King's Beta. I nod stiffly. When do we leave? Now. He gestures to the smaller horse. For you and the boy. Eli presses closer to my leg. His eyes find the horses, then dart away. He's never ridden, I explain. He'll ride with the king, Talon says, voice leaving no room for argument. No. I step forward. He stays with me. A shadow falls across us. The king stands there, already mounted on a massive black stallion. The trail is dangerous, he says. The boy rides with me. Safer if we're attacked. Before I can protest further, he leans down from his saddle. His eyes meet Eli's. Would you like to ride with me, little one? His voice changes when he addresses my son. Gentler. Almost kind. Eli looks up at him, then at me, questioning. Your choice, I tell him, though my chest tightens at the thought of separation. To my surprise, Eli steps forward, raises his arms toward the king. Ronan lifts him easily, settling my son before him in the saddle. Eli's small hands grip the pommel. Hold tight, the king says. I won't let you fall. Talon helps me mount the second horse. Pain shoots through my side as I settle in the saddle. The fortress is a half-day's ride, Talon tells me. Stay close. The company forms around us, warriors before and behind. Protection or prison escort, I can't decide. We ride through forests blanketed with snow. The trees stand sentinel, their branches heavy with white. Under different circumstances, I might find it beautiful. You're from the south, Talon says, riding beside me. Not a question. How did you know? Your accent. Faint, but there. I tense. Does that matter? It explains things. His eyes find mine. Southern packs treat omegas differently than we do. Treat them as property, you mean? He nods. The king ended such practices here years ago. I glance ahead. Ronan rides at the front of the column, Eli secure before him. My son's head turns constantly, taking in the forest. Why would he care about omega rights? I ask. Talon's expression closes. Not my story to tell. We ride in silence after that. The forest thins gradually. The terrain grows rockier. Mountains rise ahead, their peaks lost in clouds. An hour passes, then another. My body aches from the saddle. The wound in my side throbs with each step of the horse. I watch Eli with the king. Ronan keeps one arm around my son, securing him. Occasionally, he points to something in the distance, speaks words I can't hear. He's good with him, I say, surprising myself. Talon follows my gaze. The king had a son once. The statement hangs between us. I want to ask more, but his tone warns against it. A wolf howls in the distance. The company stops immediately. Warriors draw weapons. Scouts, Talon explains, voice low. Not ours. The king passes Eli to a nearby rider, then dismounts. His body changes, shifts. The black wolf stands where the man had been. He lopes into the trees, flanked by two other shifted warriors. Minutes pass. Eli's eyes remain fixed on the spot where the king disappeared. A chorus of howls erupts, snarls, the sounds of fighting. The warriors around us form a protective circle, weapons ready. Stay in the center, Talon orders, drawing his sword. I pull Eli from the other rider's grasp, hold him tight against me. Silence falls, then footsteps. The king emerges from the trees, human again and dressed. Blood spatters his clothes. None appears to be his own. 3 scouts, he announces. Darius's men. The main force follows half a day behind. They know we're heading for the fortress, Talon says. The king nods. We ride harder. No stops. He retrieves Eli from my arms. Our eyes meet briefly. Something passes between us, understanding perhaps, or shared purpose. Hold him, I say unnecessarily. With my life, he responds. We ride faster after that. The horse's hooves thunder against frozen ground. The mountains grow larger. And between them, visible now, a structure rises. Stone walls climbing from the rock itself. Towers piercing the gray sky. The fortress. It looks impenetrable. Ancient and unyielding, dark against the snow. Home, Talon says beside me. Not mine, I think. Never mine. We approach a massive gate set in walls 30 feet high. Guards call down from watchtowers. The gate swings open at the king's approach. We enter a courtyard bustling with activity. People stop and stare as we ride through. Their eyes find me, curious, wary. The king dismounts first, lifting Eli down carefully. I slide from my saddle, legs weak from the long ride. Talon steadies me with a hand on my arm. Welcome to Northern Fortress, he says. The king approaches, Eli at his side. My son looks small next to him, dwarfed by the man's height and presence. Talon will show you to rooms, Ronan says. Sarah will attend your wound. And then? I ask. And then we talk. His eyes harden. About why Darius Blackfang sends his best hunters after a random omega and her cub. I straighten despite the pain. I told you. You told me nothing of value. His voice cuts like ice. That changes tonight. He turns away, calling orders to his men. Eli stays beside me now, his small hand finding mine. Talon gestures toward a doorway. This way. We follow him into the fortress. Stone corridors lit by torches. High ceilings lost in shadow. The air smells of smoke and pine. Servants pass, heads bowed. They glance at us with quick, curious looks before hurrying away. They fear him, I observe. They respect him, Talon corrects. Fear and respect often look similar to outsiders. We climb stairs to an upper level. The corridor here appears less austere. Tapestries hang on walls. Carpets cover stone floors. Talon stops before a wooden door carved with running wolves. Your chambers. He pushes the door open. The room beyond surprises me. Spacious. A large bed piled with furs. A fireplace with flames already dancing. Windows overlooking snow-covered forests. The adjoining room is for the boy, Talon says, indicating a smaller door. Eli explores immediately, touching everything with cautious fingers. Clean clothes in the chests, Talon continues. Sarah will bring food and check your wounds soon. We're prisoners here, aren't we? I ask directly. Guests, he corrects. Under protection. Is there a difference? His eyes find mine. Guests can eventually leave. He departs, closing the door behind him. I hear a latch fall into place. So much for guests. I sink onto the bed, exhaustion claiming me suddenly. Eli continues his exploration, opening drawers and chests with quiet curiosity. Sarah arrives soon after, bringing food and medical supplies. She checks my wound with gentle efficiency. Healing well, she pronounces. Another day or two and you'll barely feel it. The king wants to speak with me tonight, I say. She nods, applying fresh bandages. He has questions. I have nothing to tell him. Sarah's eyes find mine. For your sake, I hope that's not true. She leaves us with food. Bread, meat, cheese. Eli eats hungrily. I pick at my portion, stomach tight with anxiety. The room grows darker as evening falls. Servants enter to light more lamps, then depart without speaking. Each time I hear the latch fall after them. I help Eli wash in the basin provided. Find clean clothes that nearly fit his small frame. He looks better already. Less haunted, more child. A knock comes as I tuck him into the bed in the smaller room. He's already half asleep, the journey having exhausted him. The door opens without my answer. The king enters, filling the doorway with his presence. Come, he says simply. I press a kiss to Eli's forehead. I'll be back soon, I promise. He watches me go, eyes heavy with sleep. I close his door gently. The king waits by the main door. He's changed clothes since our arrival. Black pants, a dark gray shirt open at the throat. He looks less like a warrior now, more like a man. Somehow that's more frightening. Where are we going? I ask. My study. He gestures for me to precede him. We'll have privacy there. I follow him through torch-lit corridors. Servants bow as we pass. Warriors salute. All eyes follow us with undisguised curiosity. We enter a large room lined with bookshelves. A desk stands before windows overlooking the courtyard. A fire burns in a massive hearth. The king closes the door behind us. Sit, he says, indicating a chair before the desk. I remain standing. I prefer to stand. His mouth tightens. As you wish. He moves to a cabinet, withdraws a decanter and 2 glasses. Pours amber liquid. Drink, he says, offering me a glass. I don't want. It will help with the pain. He pushes the glass into my hand. I can smell your discomfort. The reminder of his enhanced senses unnerves me. I take the glass but don't drink. The king settles in a chair behind the desk. His eyes find mine across the space between us. Let's begin again, he says. Who are you, Lena Moore? I told you. A seamstress from the south. A mother. And why does Darius Blackfang hunt you? I shrug, affecting casualness I don't feel. I'm an Omega. We're rare, valuable. Not that valuable. He leans forward. Not worth 8 elite trackers. Perhaps I offended someone important. His hand strikes the desk suddenly. The sound cracks through the room. Don't play games with me. I flinch despite myself. Darius doesn't waste resources, he continues, voice calmer. If he hunts you, there's reason beyond your gender. I don't know why, I insist. We've been running for years, different packs, different territories. From whom, originally? The Southern Alpha. After Eli's father died. Something shifts in his expression. The boy's father. Who was he? A beta guard, named Marcus. And how did he die? I look away. Protecting us, from his alpha. Why did you need protection from your own alpha? The memories rise, sharp and painful. Because I refused him. Understanding dawns in the king's eyes. He wanted you as his mate. His property, I correct bitterly. His broodmare. When I refused, he tried to take by force what I wouldn't give willingly. And Marcus intervened. He died for it. My voice hardens. The alpha tore out his throat while I watched. While Eli watched. Is that when the boy stopped speaking? I nod. We ran that night. We've been running ever since. The king stands, moves to the window, stares out at the darkened courtyard. The Southern Alpha is dead, he says finally. 2 years now. Shock ripples through me. Dead? How? Challenge. Internal power struggle. He turns back to me. His successor shouldn't care about one escaped Omega. Then I don't know why Darius hunts us, I say truthfully. He studies me, weighing my words. There's something you're not telling me. I meet his gaze steadily. Nothing relevant to your questions. I'll be the judge of relevance. He steps closer. What are you hiding, Lena? My past is my own, I say, stepping back. I've answered your questions about Darius. The rest doesn't concern you. His eyes narrow. Everything within my territory concerns me. Then let us leave your territory. Into Darius's waiting arms? He shakes his head. I think not. Why do you care? I challenge. What are we to you? Safety within my borders is my responsibility. It's more than that, I press. Talon said you had a son once. His face hardens instantly. Talon talks too much. Is that why you care about Eli? Because he reminds you of... Enough. The word cuts like a blade. We're done for tonight. He moves to the door, pulls it open. Return to your rooms. I set down the untouched glass, walk toward the exit. As I pass him, his hand catches my arm. His touch burns through the fabric of my sleeve. Whatever you're hiding, he says, voice low, I will discover it. I pull my arm free. There's nothing to find. We all have secrets, Lena Moore. His eyes hold mine. Some are written in scars, others in silence, like your son's. The mention of Eli reignites my protective instincts. Leave him out of this. I want to help you both. Why? Something vulnerable flashes across his face, quickly masked. Perhaps I'm tired of seeing innocents suffer. I don't know how to respond to that, to the unexpected humanity in his words. Good night, Alpha King, I say finally. Ronan, he corrects. My name is Ronan. The corridor stretches before me. Guards wait to escort me back to my rooms. I don't look back as I walk away, but I feel his eyes following me until I turn the corner. Days pass. The fortress settles into routine around us. Eli and I remain in our chambers most times. Servants bring food. Sarah visits daily to check my healing wound. Talon comes occasionally, bringing books for Eli, fabric and thread for me. The king doesn't come. I sew to pass the time. My fingers remember their training, needle and thread dancing across fabric. I mend our old clothes first, then start creating new ones from materials Talon brings. Eli watches me work, curled beside me on the window seat. Sometimes he draws with charcoal on parchment. Sometimes he just stares out at the snow. On the 4th night, I'm awakened by screams. I bolt upright, heart pounding. The sound comes from outside, distant but clear. Men's voices raised in terror. Eli appears in his doorway, eyes wide with fear. "It's okay," I tell him, though my own pulse races. "Stay here." I move to our main door. Find it unlocked for the first time. The guards usually stationed outside are gone. The screams come again. Closer now. Then silence more terrifying than noise. I return to Eli. Pull him into my arms. "It's nothing," I lie. "Just the wind." He shakes his head, points toward the window. I carry him there. Look out into the courtyard below. Torches illuminate a grim scene. Men dragged across snow that steams with fresh blood. Bodies, or parts of them, piled near the eastern wall. The king stands at the center, bare-chested despite the cold. Blood spatters his skin. A sword hangs from one hand, its blade dark and wet. "Rogues!" a voice says behind me. I whirl, clutching Eli tighter. Ronan stands in our doorway. Blood still marks his chest, his arms, his face. His eyes burn with fading battle rage. "They breached the outer wall," he continues, entering our room. "A small force, testing our defenses." "Darius's men?" I ask. He nods. "They died for their trouble." Eli squirms in my arms. I set him down but keep him behind me. "All of them?" "All but one." Ronan's mouth curves in a cold smile. "I kept him alive, for questioning." The implications hang in the air between us. I've heard stories of the king's interrogation methods. "That's why you came?" I ask. "To warn us about rogues?" "To see if you were afraid?" He steps closer. "Do I frighten you more than death, Lena Moore?" I lift my chin. "Should you?" "Most find me terrifying." Another step closer, especially when I'm covered in enemy blood. "I've seen blood before." "Yes," he agrees. "On your mate. On yourself. On innocence." Eli peers around my leg at the king. His small face shows curiosity rather than fear. Ronan's expression softens slightly, looking down at my son. "Hello, little one." Eli steps forward, ignoring my attempt to hold him back. He reaches toward the king's hand, the one not holding the bloody sword. Ronan crouches, bringing himself to Eli's level. "You're not afraid," he observes. Eli shakes his head, points to the window, then makes a slashing motion with his hand. "Yes," Ronan agrees. "I killed them, to protect what's mine." The possessive words send a shiver through me. "We are not yours." His eyes lift to mine. "Everyone within these walls falls under my protection. That makes you mine while you remain." "And when we leave?" He stands again, towering over us both. "The rogues tonight were scouts. Darius gathers his forces beyond our borders. No one leaves until the threat passes. That could be months. It could be." He moves to the door. "Sarah will bring you breakfast. After that, you'll join me in the Great Hall." "Why?" "Because I command it." His voice holds no room for argument. "Bring the boy. It's time you both saw more than these rooms." He leaves without waiting for my response. The door remains open behind him. I stare at the empty doorway. No guards replace the missing ones, the first taste of limited freedom. "What game is he playing?" I whisper. Eli tugs at my hand, points to where the king disappeared. "You like him?" I accuse gently. Eli nods, expression serious. "He's dangerous," I say. "The most dangerous alpha in the 5 territories." My son just shrugs, unconcerned. Children see differently than adults, without prejudice or fear. Sometimes I envy his silence, the ability to observe without judgment. I return him to bed. Sit beside him until he falls asleep again. Then I move to the window. Watch as servants clean blood from the courtyard stones, as bodies are dragged away for burning. I wonder which is worse, the rogues hunting us or the king keeping us. At least with rogues, I know what to expect. The king remains a mystery, a predator playing at mercy, a wolf in his own skin. I watch until the courtyard empties, until the torches burn low, until my eyes grow heavy once more. Tomorrow we leave these rooms, step further into the wolf's den. I should feel afraid. Instead, something like anticipation flutters beneath my ribs. Dangerous, I think again. But this time, I'm not sure if I mean the king or my own reaction to him. Morning comes bright and cold. Sunlight sparkles on fresh snow visible through our windows. Sarah arrives with breakfast and fresh clothes. The king expects you in the great hall by midday, she says. The clothes she brings surprise me. Fine wool dyed deep blue, silver threads at collar and cuffs. For Eli, a smaller version in the same colors. These are too fine, I protest. The king's orders. Sarah's tone brooks no argument. You represent his household now. We're not part of his household. She just smiles. The clothes, Lena. And be prompt. After she leaves, I examine the garments more closely. The craftsmanship exceeds anything I've seen in years. The fabric feels soft against my skin. What do you think? I ask Eli, holding up his new clothes. He runs small fingers over the silver embroidery, nods approval. We dress carefully. I braid my dark hair back from my face, help Eli wash his hands and face until they shine. Remember, I tell him as we prepare to leave our rooms, stay close to me. Don't wander. He nods solemnly, takes my hand. We follow Sarah's directions through corridors grander than those we've seen before. Tapestries depict hunting scenes and battles. Armor stands sentinel in alcoves. The fortress reveals itself as both palace and stronghold. The great hall opens before us, a vast space with a vaulted ceiling. Tables line the sides. A massive hearth dominates one wall. At the far end, on a raised dais, stands a throne carved from dark wood and adorned with antlers. The king sits there, deep in conversation with Talon and other advisors. Warriors fill the lower tables. Servants hurry between them, carrying platters of food and pitchers of drink. All activity pauses as we enter. Heads turn, voices quiet. The king raises his head. His eyes find us across the distance. He dismisses his advisors with a gesture. Come, he calls, voice carrying. We walk forward between the tables. Eyes follow our progress. I feel the weight of their curiosity, their judgment. The blue clothes mark us, set us apart. The king's colors, Sarah explained earlier, his personal standard. We reach the dais. Ronan studies us, approval evident in his expression. Better, he says. Much better than rags. Thank you for the clothes, I say stiffly. He gestures to places at the high table to his right. Sit. Eat. Eli climbs onto the indicated chair without hesitation. I follow more slowly. Servants appear immediately, bringing food. The fare outshines anything we've eaten in years. Roasted meat, fresh bread, fruit preserved from fall harvests. Eli's eyes widen at the abundance. He looks to me for permission. Go ahead, I tell him. Eat what you want. The hall returns to normal activity as we eat. Conversations resume. Laughter rises. The atmosphere seems surprisingly relaxed for the court of such a feared king. You look shocked, Ronan observes. I expected something different, I admit. Heads on pikes, blood rituals. His mouth curves slightly. Disappointment must be bitter. Relief, actually. He watches Eli eat with obvious pleasure. The boy seems well. He adapts quickly. A survival skill. Ronan drinks from a silver cup. One you share. I focus on my plate, uncomfortable under his steady gaze. How long do you intend to keep us here? Until Darius is no longer a threat. And then? His eyes find mine. That depends on what I discover about you, Lena Moore. There's nothing to discover. Everyone has secrets. He leans closer. I smell them on you. Before I can respond, Talon approaches, bends to whisper in the king's ear. Ronan's expression hardens. He stands abruptly. "Excuse me," he says. "Duty calls." He strides from the hall, Talon and several warriors following. Conversation dims in his wake. Sarah appears beside our table. "Come," she says. "I'll show you the rest of the fortress." Eli looks up at me, questioning. I nod. "Let's go." We follow Sarah through corridors and chambers. The library, filled with more books than I've seen in my lifetime. The indoor training grounds, where warriors practice with blunted weapons. The kitchens, warm and fragrant with cooking. And here, Sarah says finally, the sewing rooms. She opens a door to reveal a bright chamber. Women work at various tables, cutting fabric, stitching garments. Windows allow northern light to flood the space. "The king mentioned you were a seamstress," Sarah explains. "I thought you might like to see our work." An older woman approaches. Her hands show the calluses of a lifetime with needle and thread. "Marta oversees all textile work," Sarah introduces. "Marta, this is Lena and Eli." "The king's guests," Marta says, looking us over. "We've heard of you." "Good things, I hope," I respond cautiously. "Curious things," she corrects. "An Omega who fights rogues with a silver blade. A child who tamed the king's frown." Eli drifts toward a table where colorful threads lie in neat rows. His fingers hover over them, not quite touching. "Go ahead," Marta tells him. "You can touch." He selects a spool of gold thread, holds it up to the light, watching it glitter. "He has a good eye," Marta observes. I move to a half-finished garment on a nearby table. The stitchwork catches my attention, intricate patterns I recognize from Southern traditions. "This is solstice stitch," I say, surprised. "From the Southern territories." "You know it?" Marta asks. "I was trained in it." I examine the work more closely, though the pattern here is slightly different. "Our northern version," she explains. "Would you like to try?" Before I can answer, Sarah touches my arm. "Another time, perhaps. There's more to see." We continue our tour. Eli grows tired eventually. I carry him despite his weight straining my healing side. We return to our chambers by late afternoon. The fortress feels less threatening now. Still foreign, but knowable. Eli falls asleep almost immediately, exhausted from the day's explorations. I sit by the window, watching the courtyard below. Warriors train despite the cold. Servants hurry between buildings. Life continues under the shadow of danger. A knock sounds at our door. I open it to find a servant. "The king requests your presence," she says, "in his private dining room." "Now?" She nods. "Just you. The boy may stay and rest." I glance back at Eli, sleeping peacefully. "I don't want to leave him." "Sarah will stay with him." The woman gestures to where the healer approaches down the corridor. Sarah enters our chambers. "Go," she says. "I'll watch over him." Reluctantly, I follow the servant through unfamiliar corridors. We climb a narrow staircase to a tower room. She knocks once, then opens the door. "The Omega, my king," she announces, then departs. The room beyond surprises me, smaller than expected. Intimate. A round table set with food and wine. A fire burns in a stone hearth. Windows show stars appearing in the darkening sky. The king stands as I enter. He's dressed less formally than earlier. A simple black shirt, dark pants. His hair falls loose around his shoulders. "Sit," he says, gesturing to a chair across from his. I remain by the door. "Why am I here?" "To dine." He returns to his seat. "Sarah tells me you enjoyed seeing the fortress." I step further into the room, wary. "It was educational." "You visited the sewing rooms." He pours wine into 2 goblets. Marta says you showed interest in her work. I was trained as a seamstress from childhood. In the Southern tradition. He offers a goblet. Rare skills. I accept the wine cautiously. Common enough where I came from. And where was that exactly? His eyes hold mine. You've never named your original pack. Does it matter? Everything about you matters. The words fall between us, heavy with implications. Sit? Eat? Tell me of your training. I take the seat opposite him. The table between us feels like insufficient barrier. I was apprenticed at 12, I say, selecting bread from a platter. Standard for Omega girls. We learn domestic skills early. Did you enjoy it? The question surprises me. Enjoy? No one asked if I enjoyed it. I'm asking now. I consider the question honestly. Yes, I enjoyed the precision of it, the creation, making beauty from simple threads. Something softens in his expression. You could work in our sewing rooms, if you wished. Why would you offer that? You need occupation. He drinks from his goblet. And we need skilled hands. We won't be here long enough to matter. Won't you? His eyes find mine again. The snow deepens. Darius gathers strength. Months may pass before travel becomes possible again. The thought settles like stone in my stomach. Months in this fortress. Under his power, his protection. What of Eli? I ask. He needs education, structure. The fortress has teachers, children of other pack members. I set down my goblet harder than intended. You speak as if our staying is decided. It is. His voice hardens. Until spring, at minimum. The northern passes close with the first heavy snow. That comes within days. We're prisoners then. Guests, he corrects, who currently have nowhere else to go. I can't argue with his logic. Where would we go? Back to the rogues? To Darius's waiting arms? Why does this matter to you? I ask finally. Why do we matter? He stands suddenly, moves to the window, stares out at the night. I had a son once, he says, voice so low I barely hear it. And a mate. The admission hangs in the silence between us. What happened to them? I ask softly, his shoulders tense. I buried them in snow like this. The raw pain in his voice steals my breath. I stand, drawn toward him despite myself. How? I ask. Rogues. The word falls like an axe. Darius's men. They attacked while I was away from the fortress, slaughtered dozens, including my family. Understanding dawns. That's why you hate him so much. Hate is too mild a word for what I feel. He turns back to me. Firelight catches the angles of his face, the shadows in his eyes. When I found your son huddled beneath that broken table, something broke inside me. Eli reminds you of your son. Yes. The admission seems torn from him. And you... He doesn't finish the thought, doesn't need to. I'm not her, I say gently. No. His eyes hold mine. You're stronger, fiercer. You survived. The compliment warms me in ways I refuse to examine. I'm sorry about your family. As am I about your mate. He steps closer. The difference is your son still lives. You still have something to fight for. And you? What do you fight for now? Vengeance. His voice hardens. Justice. That's not enough. It's all I have. I shake my head. You have a pack, a kingdom, people who depend on you. They have a king, he says. Not a man. Perhaps they need both. Something shifts in his expression. He steps closer still. Close enough that I feel his warmth. Smell the pine and smoke scent of him. What do you need, Lena Moore? He asks, voice low. The question catches me off guard. Safety for Eli. Nothing more. Nothing? His hand rises, hovers near my face without touching. Not even this? My breath catches. I don't know what you mean. You do. His eyes find mine, golden in the firelight. I feel your pulse quicken when I'm near. Hear your breath change. Smell the shift in your scent. Heat rises in my cheeks. You're imagining things. Am I? His finger touches my chin lightly, tilts my face up. Tell me to stop, and I will. I should tell him. Should step away. Should remember every reason this man terrifies me. Instead, I stand frozen, heart racing beneath my ribs. His face lowers toward mine. His breath warms my lips. For one suspended moment, I think he might kiss me. A knock breaks the spell. He steps back instantly. His expression shudders. Enter, he calls, voice normal again. Talon appears in the doorway. His eyes move between us, noting our proximity. Forgive the interruption, my king. The scouts have returned from the eastern border. And? Ronan's voice has regained its edge of command. It's as we feared. Darius brings his entire pack. They've crossed the outer markers. The king's expression hardens. How many? 50 warriors, maybe more. Double the guard, seal the lower passages. Ronan turns to me. You should return to your chambers. To Eli. The dismissal stings more than it should. The almost moment between us evaporates like morning mist. Of course, I say stiffly. As I move toward the door, his voice stops me. Lena. I turn back. His expression has softened slightly. Thank you, he says, for listening. The unexpected gratitude catches me off guard. You're welcome, I respond, unsure what else to say. Talon escorts me back to my chambers. Neither of us speaks. The air feels charged with unasked questions. At my door, he pauses. The king rarely dines with anyone, he says. Not since... He doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. I enter my chambers quietly. Find Sarah dozing in a chair beside Eli's bed. My son sleeps peacefully, untroubled by the gathering storm. I dismiss Sarah with whispered thanks, take her place in the chair. Outside, snow begins to fall. Thick flakes that will soon blanket the world in white. Closing passes, trapping us here until spring. With a king who looks at me and sees both ghost and possibility. With danger circling the walls like hungry wolves. With my son caught between past and future. I watch the snow fall and wonder which is more dangerous, the enemy outside the walls, or the feelings stirring within them. Days blur into a routine of cautious exploration. Eli and I venture further through the fortress each morning. We discover hidden gardens preserved under glass, libraries filled with ancient scrolls, kitchens that steam with constant activity. The people grow used to our presence. Their wariness fades gradually. Some even smile when Eli passes, charmed by his serious eyes and careful observations. I begin working in the sewing rooms. My fingers remember skills long dormant. Marta teaches me northern patterns while I share southern techniques. The work calms my mind, gives purpose to endless days. Snow continues falling. The fortress stands isolated in a world of white. Scouts report the passes closed completely. We are trapped here until spring. Whether as guests or prisoners remains unclear. The king maintains distance after our interrupted dinner. I see him in the great hall, surrounded by advisors. In the training yards, instructing warriors. Always watching when he thinks I don't notice. He avoids you, Sarah observes one afternoon as we sort healing herbs in her workroom. Unusual for him. How so? I ask, trying to sound unconcerned. The king doesn't retreat. She studies my face. From enemies or desires? I'm neither, Sarah smiles. Are you certain? I don't answer. Can't answer. The truth feels too complicated, too dangerous. Eli flourishes despite our confinement. Sarah discovers he can write, though he won't speak. She gives him a small slate and chalk. His first written word stuns me. Safe. I read aloud, throat tight with emotion. He nods solemnly, adding a second word beneath it. King, I whisper. Eli draws a crude crown above the letters. You think he keeps us safe? I ask my son. He nods again, expression certain. I wish I shared his confidence. The king remains an enigma, savior and captor in one powerful form. His kindness toward Eli seems genuine. His interest in me feels more complex, layered with grief and something else I dare not name. A week passes since the dinner, then another. Winter settles fully over the fortress. The days grow shorter. Nights stretch endlessly. I wake one such night to strange sounds. Eli sleeps peacefully in his adjoining room. The noises come from elsewhere. The corridor, perhaps. Cautiously, I open our door. The usual guards are absent. The torches burn low, casting long shadows. A cry echoes from somewhere below. Pain. Anguish. I follow the sound, drawn despite better judgment. The corridors wind downward. The stone grows colder beneath my feet. The cries grow louder. I reach a heavy door left partially open. Light spills through the gap. The sounds come from within. Peering through the opening, I see a chamber sparsely furnished. A bed, a chair, a table with scattered items. The king stands at the window, his back to the door, bare to the waist. His shoulders heave with labored breathing. Leave, he says without turning. His voice sounds raw, strained. I should obey, should retreat to safer ground. Are you hurt? I ask instead. He turns, surprise evident in his expression. Then pain. His eyes glow golden in the dim light. Lena. My name sounds different on his lips. You shouldn't be here. I enter despite his warning. See immediately what he tried to hide. Scars mark his chest and back. Old ones healed silver white, new ones still angry red. But it's his shoulder that draws my attention. Fresh wounds puncture the muscle. Blood trails down his arm. What happened? I move closer, medical training overriding caution. Nothing. He turns away. It's nothing. You're bleeding. It will heal. His voice hardens. Leave me. I ignore the command. Step closer. Let me help. He laughs, a bitter sound. Why would you help me? Because you're in pain. The answer comes simply. Because I can. His eyes find mine. Something vulnerable flashes in their depths. The wounds won't kill me. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated. I spot a basin of water on the table, cloths beside it. You were trying to clean them yourself. The healer sleeps. I didn't want to wake her. I'm here now. I gesture to the chair. Sit. Surprise crosses his features at my commanding tone, then, strangely, compliance. He sits, watching me warily. I examine the wounds, 5 punctures in a half circle. Claws, I observe. He nods. Rogue patrol. We caught them at the northern boundary. You fought personally? I dampen a cloth, clean around the edges of the wounds. Always. He watches my hands work. A king who sends others to die while remaining safe isn't worthy of the crown. The sentiment surprises me, contradicts stories told of the ruthless Alpha King. These need herbs, I tell him, to prevent infection. In the cabinet, Sarah keeps supplies here. I find the familiar herbs, similar to those Sarah taught me to identify. Crush them with practiced movements. Mix with clean water to form a paste. This will sting, I warn, applying the mixture to the wounds. His body tenses but makes no sound. His eyes never leave my face. You've done this before, he observes. Many times. I wrap clean bandages around his shoulder. For Eli, for myself. And your mate? His voice changes slightly. Did you tend his wounds too? The question catches me off guard. Yes, when I could. You loved him. Not a question. I cared for him. I secure the bandage. He was kind to me, to Eli. That's not the same as love. I step back, uncomfortable with the direction of conversation. It was enough. Was it? His eyes hold mine. Or was it simply safer than the alternative? You know nothing about my marriage. I know you never marked each other. His gaze drops to my neck, to the unmarked skin where a mating bite would show. He died for you, yet never claimed you. Anger flares. Not all bonds require teeth and flesh. True enough. He stands, towering over me again. But an unmated Omega carries a particular scent, especially one who has never truly bonded. Heat rises in my cheeks. You overstep, Alpha King. Ronan, he corrects, voice softening. My name is Ronan. You overstep, Ronan. Something shifts in his expression, a softening around eyes normally hard. Forgive me, he says, surprising me again. Your private matters are not my concern. No, they aren't. I gather the medical supplies, avoiding his gaze. The bandage should be changed tomorrow. Thank you. The words sound unfamiliar in his voice. For your help. I move toward the door, need distance from his presence, from the confusion he creates within me. Lena. His voice stops me. Why did you come? When you heard sounds of pain, why investigate rather than hide? The question strikes deeper than intended, forces honesty I hadn't acknowledged. Because pain shouldn't be faced alone, I answer finally. Even yours. I leave before he can respond. Return through dark corridors to my chambers. Find Eli still sleeping peacefully, unaware of my absence. Sleep eludes me for hours afterward. His questions echo in my mind. His wounded body appears when I close my eyes. The vulnerability glimpsed beneath his strength haunts me. Dangerous thoughts for a woman who swore never to need an alpha again, never to trust one, never to want one. Yet here I stand, needing, trusting, wanting. Most dangerous of all. The king summons me to the Great Hall 3 days later. Talon delivers the message personally. The king requests your presence, he says, immediately. Why? I ask, setting aside the embroidery I'd been teaching Eli. Visitors arrived this morning. Talon's expression reveals nothing. Alpha leaders from neighboring territories. What does that have to do with me? That is for the king to explain. He gestures toward the door. The boy should remain here. I kneel before Eli. I'll be back soon, I promise. Continue practicing those stitches. He nods, fingers already returning to the embroidery hoop. His small hands show surprising dexterity. Talon leads me through corridors unusually busy with activity. Servants hurry past carrying extra linens. Guards stand at attention along routes normally unpatrolled. Important visitors, I observe. The Winter Council, Talon explains. They meet annually to discuss territory matters. And the king wants me present for this? He has his reasons. The Great Hall buzzes with voices when we enter. A dozen unfamiliar figures occupy the high table with the king. Men and women dressed in furs and leathers, marking different pack affiliations. Conversation dies as we approach. Eyes turn toward me. Curious, assessing, sometimes hostile. The king rises from his seat. Ah, Lena, he says, voice carrying across the suddenly silent hall. Join us. Talon leads me to an empty chair at Ronan's right hand, a position of honor that feels like exposure. My lords and ladies, Ronan addresses the visitors, this is Lena Moore. The group studies me with renewed interest. One man, gray-haired, face lined with age, leans forward. This is the Omega we've heard whispers about? He asks. The one found in the forest? The same, Ronan confirms. Lena, these are the alpha leaders of the Northern Alliance. I nod politely, unsure what response is expected. A woman across the table smiles coldly. Unusual to seat an unmated Omega at your right hand, Ronan? Unusual to find one who slays rogues with a silver blade, Lyra. He counters smoothly. Yet here we are. I feel their assessment like physical touch, judging, evaluating, finding me wanting, perhaps. Where do you come from, girl? The older man asks. The South, I answer simply. Which pack? Another demands. I hesitate, feeling Ronan's attention sharpen beside me. Green Valley, I say finally. The truth, but not all of it. Recognition flickers in several faces. The Green Valley pack, known for wealth, ancient bloodlines, and strict adherence to traditional hierarchy. You're a long way from home, Lyra observes. Home ceased to exist for me long ago, I respond. And your child? The question comes from a younger alpha at the far end. We hear he's mute. Protective anger flares. My son's condition isn't a matter for discussion. Silence falls. Alpha's unaccustomed to being challenged by an Omega. Ronan's hand touches mine briefly under the table. A warning or reassurance? I can't tell. Lena and her son enjoy my personal protection, he says, voice carrying the weight of authority. Their presence here isn't subject to council approval or discussion. Interesting, the older man says, considering the circumstances. What circumstances? I ask before thinking. Ronan's fingers press against mine, definitely warning now. Nothing that need concern you, he says. Lord Fenris speaks of political matters. Lord Fenris smiles thinly. Indeed. Though perhaps the lady should know that her former alpha sends inquiries about her whereabouts. Cold fear washes through me. Former alpha? The new Southern leader, Lyra explains. He's most eager to reclaim certain properties that went missing during the succession. I am no one's property, I say, voice steady despite my racing heart. Bold words, Lord Fenris observes, for an Omega without pack protection. She has protection, Ronan interrupts. His voice drops dangerously. Mine. The declaration falls into stunned silence. Even Talon looks surprised. On what grounds? Lyra demands. She isn't pack, isn't family, isn't mate. She saved my life, Ronan says simply. Blood debt transcends other claims. The lie, for it is a lie, I saved no one, surprises me. But I keep my expression neutral. Convenient, Lord Fenris murmurs. I find honor rarely convenient, old friend. Ronan's voice holds steel beneath courtesy. Yet necessary all the same. The conversation shifts to other matters. Border disputes, trade agreements, complaints about increased rogue activity. I sit silently, food untouched, mind racing. The Southern Alpha searches for me. After 3 years, they still hunt us. Which means they know. They know about Eli, about what he is, about what I did. The secret I've guarded with my life. The truth I haven't shared even with the king who protects us. The meal stretches endlessly. When Ronan finally stands, signaling its end, relief floods through me. Talon will show you back to your chambers, he tells me quietly. Stay there until I come. Why did you bring me here? I demand, keeping my voice low. To parade me before them? To show them you exist under my protection. His eyes find mine. They needed to see it directly, hear me claim responsibility. Why lie about a blood debt? Who says I lied? His mouth curves slightly. Your treatment of my wounds could be interpreted as life-saving. A convenient interpretation. As I said, honor rarely aligns with convenience. He steps back. We'll speak later. I follow Talon from the hall, feeling eyes track our departure. The corridor offers blessed escape from scrutiny. The king took a risk, Talon says as we walk, openly claiming protection over an Omega sought by another Alpha. I didn't ask for his protection, yet he gives it freely. Talon glances sideways at me. Few receive such consideration. Back in my chambers, I find Eli still absorbed in his embroidery. He holds up his work proudly, a crude but recognizable wolf taking shape in dark thread. "It's beautiful," I tell him, forcing a smile. "You're learning quickly." He scrawls on his slate, "For King." "A gift for the king?" I ask, surprised. "That's very thoughtful." He nods, returning to his work with renewed concentration. I move to the window, thoughts churning. The Southern Alpha searches for us. Ronan publicly claimed us under his protection. The Alpha Council watches with suspicious eyes. Pieces of a puzzle I can't fully see. Dangers converging from multiple directions. Hours pass. Night falls. Eli eventually sleeps, his embroidery carefully set aside for morning. A knock finally comes. I open the door expecting the king. Talon stands there instead, expression grave. "The king requests your presence in his study, immediately." "What's happened?" "It's not my place to say." He glances toward Eli's room. "The boy should remain here. I'll stand guard." Fear tightens my chest. I follow Talon through darkened corridors. Servants hurry past, carrying weapons rather than linens now. Warriors gather in small groups, voices hushed. "Tell me what's happening," I demand. "Rogues breached the outer wall," Talon says finally. "A small force. They were repelled, but what? They left a message. For you." My steps falter. "For me?" "The king will explain." We reach the study. 2 guards stand outside, heavily armed. Talon knocks once, then opens the door. "She's here," he announces. The king stands at his desk. Blood stains his right sleeve. A fresh cut marks his forehead. Battle remnants. Lord Fenris and Lyra occupy chairs before the desk. They study me with new intensity as I enter. "Show her," Ronan commands. Talon presents a cloth bundle, unwraps it carefully. A doll lies within, crudely made from sticks and rags. A child's toy, but sinister in this context. "This was found pinned to the gate," Talon explains. "With this." He reveals a scrap of fabric, torn, blood-stained, but recognizable. Part of a child's shirt. Eli's shirt. The one he wore when we fled the Southern Territories. Terror seizes my lungs. "This is impossible," I whisper. "How did they—" "Darius left a message with it," Ronan interrupts. His voice sounds flat, controlled. "He claims to hold something precious to you. Something you abandoned." "Abandoned?" I shake my head. "I abandoned nothing, no one." He says differently. Ronan's eyes bore into mine. "He claims there was another child, a daughter left behind in your flight." The room spins. The lie, so monstrous, so calculated, steals my breath. "I have no daughter," I say when I can speak. "Eli is my only child." "Then explain this." Ronan holds up the fabric. "Explain why Darius Blackfang sends tokens meant to provoke you specifically." I can't. My voice shakes. "I don't understand any of this." "I think you do." He steps closer. "I think you've hidden truths since the moment I found you." "Ronan." Lord Fenris interrupts. "Perhaps the lady needs time to consider her response." "There is no time." Ronan doesn't look away from me. "Darius offers exchange, the girl child for you." "There is no child," I cry. "This is manipulation, a trap." "Then why target you?" Ronan demands. "Why hunt you across territories for 3 years?" The question strikes too close to secrets I've protected, to truths I've buried beneath lies and silence. "I don't know," I whisper, the lie bitter on my tongue. Lyra stands, moving toward me. "The king has claimed protection over you," she says. "Risked alliance and peace to shelter you. You owe him truth in return." "I owe him nothing." The words emerge sharper than intended. We never asked to be brought here. Yet here you stand, Ronan says, alive because of my intervention, safe behind my walls while rogues hunt at my borders. Guilt mingles with fear and anger. He speaks truth, however painful. I have no daughter, I say again, meeting his gaze directly. Darius lies. Ronan studies me, searching for deception. Then why does he hunt you? Why does the Southern Alpha seek your return? What value do you hold beyond being an unmated Omega? The questions hang in the air between us. The moment stretches, pregnant with unspoken truths. Leave us, Ronan orders suddenly. All of you. Lord Fenris rises. Ronan, perhaps now. The command brooks no argument. They depart reluctantly. Talon last, concern evident in his expression. The door closes. Silence falls. Ronan moves to the hearth. Stares into flames that cast his face in shifting light and shadow. When I found you in that cabin, he says finally, I saw only a desperate mother protecting her child. Something resonated, reminded me of. He doesn't finish, doesn't need to. I brought you here out of memory, he continues. Out of guilt, perhaps, for failing to protect my own family. You've been kind to us, I say softly. Have I? He turns back to me. Or have I merely substituted you for ghosts? Tried to rewrite my failure through your salvation? The raw honesty of his question catches me unprepared. Does it matter? I ask. The outcome remains the same. We live because of you. It matters if I've been blind to danger. His eyes hold mine. If my feelings have clouded judgment. Feelings. The word hangs between us, heavy with implication. Darius lies, I say again. There is no child to exchange. Then tell me the truth, Lena. He steps closer. Tell me why they hunt you so relentlessly, why you run so desperately. What secret justifies 3 years of flight? The moment stretches. The truth presses against my lips, demanding release. I can't, I whisper. Can't or won't. He steps closer still. After everything, you still don't trust me. It's not about trust. My voice breaks slightly. It's about protection. From what? His frustration shows plainly now. What danger requires such absolute secrecy? From everyone, I say, including you. Pain flashes across his features. You think I would harm you? Or Eli? Not intentionally. I meet his gaze steadily. But some knowledge carries its own danger. For those who possess it. For those who don't. Riddles and evasions. He turns away. While enemies gather at our gates. Guilt twists my stomach. This man has protected us, sheltered us, perhaps even begun to care for us, and I repay him with half-truths. I should return to Eli, I say finally. He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, his voice sounds distant, official. Go, he says. We move to the inner fortress tomorrow, all non-warriors. The outer walls may not hold if Darius attacks in force. You believe an attack comes? I believe nothing happens by coincidence. He turns back to me. This message, this doll, represents escalation, psychological warfare. I glance at the crude doll still lying on his desk. A threat wrapped in childish form. I'm sorry, I say, meaning it deeply, for bringing this danger to your door. The danger was always there, he responds. Darius has hunted me since I took his throne, since I executed his father for treason. This information surprises me. You never mentioned that. There are many things I haven't mentioned. His eyes find mine again, as there are many you keep silent. The parallel strikes uncomfortably true. Good night, Alpha King, I say formally, retreating toward the door. Lena. His voice stops me. Whatever you hide, whatever you fear, remember one thing. I turn back, hand on the doorknob. I can't protect what I don't understand, he says simply. The words follow me through dark corridors, echo in my mind as I return to Eli. I find my son sleeping peacefully, unaware of threats and secrets, of dolls and bloody fabric, of the lies told in his name. I sit beside his bed, watch his small chest rise and fall in steady rhythm. The truth waits inside me, has waited 3 years for voice, for ears that might hear without condemnation. Could I trust the king with it? With the secret that would make him enemy rather than protector? The night offers no answers, only questions that multiply like shadows cast by dying flame. Morning brings chaos. Servants rush through corridors carrying essentials to the inner fortress. Warriors gather in the courtyards, weapons readied. Scouts return with reports of movement in the surrounding forests. Sarah arrives at our chambers early. Pack only what you need, she instructs. 1 bag each. Everything else remains. What's happening? I ask, helping Eli gather his few possessions. Darius's forces have been spotted within our borders. Her expression remains calm, but tension lines her body. The king orders all non-combatants to the inner keep. How many rogues? Not just rogues. She checks the contents of a medical bag. Warriors from the eastern territories. Darius has been gathering allies. Fear tightens my chest. An army, then. She nods. The first real threat to northern borders in a decade. Guilt weighs heavily. My presence here, the king's protection over us, may have accelerated this conflict. I should leave, I say suddenly. Draw them away. Sarah looks up sharply. And go where? Into Darius's waiting arms? Better me than an entire fortress. Foolish girl. She closes her bag with a snap. This war began long before you arrived, will continue long after you're gone. But the king doesn't need your sacrifice, she interrupts. He needs your trust. The statement strikes close to last night's conversation, to the truth I still withhold. I don't know how to trust anymore, I admit quietly. Then learn. Her voice softens, before it costs more than you're willing to pay. We finish packing quickly. Eli insists on bringing his embroidery, the wolf design still unfinished. I allow it, touched by his determination to complete the gift. Talon arrives to escort us to the inner fortress, a structure within the main complex, built into the mountain itself. More defensible, more isolated. Ancient stone that has never fallen to enemy attack. Where is the king? I ask as we walk. Organizing defense, Talon answers. You'll see him at the evening council. Council? All pack leaders gather tonight. His expression reveals concern beneath official calm. To decide our response should the outer walls fall. The inner fortress proves both smaller and more comfortable than expected. Rooms carved from living rock, warmed by hot springs running beneath the floors. Windows narrow but positioned to capture available light. Our new chambers include a sitting area connecting to bedrooms. Plain but adequate. Defensible rather than decorative. The king's quarters are above, Talon explains. Should you need anything. Will we see him before the council? I ask. Something knowing flickers in Talon's expression. Missing him already? Heat rises in my cheeks. Merely a question. He'll come when duties permit. Talon moves toward the door. Stay within the inner fortress. All exterior areas are restricted until further notice. After he leaves, I help Eli settle into his new room. He explores thoroughly, touching stone walls with curious fingers, writing observations on his slate. Warm, I read aloud. Yes, the floors hold heat from the springs below. He writes more. Safe? The question reflects my own uncertainty. I think so, I tell him. The king won't let anything happen to us. Eli nods, accepting my answer with childish faith. faith I wish I fully shared. Hours pass. Eli works on his embroidery. I pace, restless with forced inactivity, with waiting while others prepare for battle. A knock comes late afternoon. I open the door expecting Talon or Sarah. The king stands there instead. He looks different, dressed for war rather than court. Leather armor over simple clothing, sword at his hip, his hair pulled back severely from his face. "May I enter?" he asks formally. I step aside. Of course. He surveys our chambers briefly. "Comfortable enough?" "Yes, thank you." Eli emerges from his room at the sound of voices. His face brightens seeing the king. He hurries forward, slate in hand. Ronan crouches to Eli's level, a gesture that still surprises me each time. "Hello, little one." Eli shows him the slate. New words written in careful letters. "Win fight?" A smile touches the king's mouth. "That's the plan." My son nods seriously, returns to his room, presumably for his embroidery. Ronan straightens, his eyes finding mine. "The council meets in an hour. Your presence is requested." "Why?" I ask. "I have no authority here." "Because Darius hunts you specifically." His voice holds none of last night's warmth. "The pack leaders deserve to understand why they fight. I've told you everything I can." "Not everything," he corrects. "But perhaps enough." Eli returns before I can respond. He holds out his embroidery hoop. The wolf design remains unfinished, but its form is clearly recognizable now. "For you," he writes on the slate. Ronan takes the offered gift, studies it with genuine attention. "You made this?" he asks. Eli nods proudly. "It's excellent work." The king's voice softens. "Thank you, Eli." My son beams at the praise, then writes more on his slate. "Finish later." I look forward to seeing it completed. Ronan places a gentle hand on Eli's head. "You have skill with thread." The moment touches something deep within me. This feared Alpha King, crouching to admire a child's crude embroidery, speaking with genuine appreciation rather than condescension. Eli returns to his room, satisfied with the exchange. "He's quite remarkable," Ronan says, straightening again. His silence hides a keen mind. "He sees more than he can say," I agree. "Always has." Trauma affects children differently than adults. His eyes hold knowledge of such things. Some retreat. Others observe more carefully. "You understand children well." Pain flashes briefly across his features. "I understood one once." The reference to his lost son hangs between us, an invisible thread connecting shared grief. "I'm sorry," I say softly. "About last night. About—" "Your secrets?" he supplies when I falter. "Keep them if you must. But know this. Darius brings war regardless of your cooperation." "Then why demand truth from me?" "Because truth arms us better than ignorance." He moves toward the door. "The council chamber is 3 levels up. Talon will escort you when it's time." He leaves without further conversation. The professional distance between us feels both appropriate and painful. Eli emerges from his room after the king departs, crawls onto my lap as I sit by the window. His weight, heavier now than when we arrived months ago, comforts me. "You like him," I observe. Eli nods against my shoulder. "I think he likes you too," I say softly. My son pulls back, writes on his slate, "Likes you more." Heat rises in my cheeks again. "Don't be silly." "Watches you," he writes, then adds, "Wolf eyes." Children see differently than adults, without complication, without preconception. "It's not that simple," I tell him. He shrugs, unconvinced, returns to leaning against me. I stroke his dark hair, so similar to my own, so different from his father's golden waves. Evidence of truth hidden beneath necessary lies. Could I trust the king with that truth? With the secret that might change everything between us? Talon arrives eventually. Escorts me to the council chamber while Sarah stays with Eli. The room rises from ancient stone, circular, with tiered seating surrounding a central space. Torch brackets line the walls, casting flickering light. A map table occupies the center. Pack leaders already gather. Lord Fenris, Lyra, others from last night's dinner. The king stands at the map table, deep in conversation with warriors I recognize from training yards. All eyes turn as I enter. Conversation falters. The Omega arrives, Lord Fenris announces unnecessarily. Perhaps now we might have answers. I straighten my spine. Walk forward with more confidence than I feel. The king nods acknowledgement but doesn't speak directly to me. Instead, he addresses the gathered leaders. Scouts confirm Darius's position, he says. 200 fighters, mixed rogues and Eastern Territory warriors. They camp beyond the North Ridge. 200? Lyra sounds skeptical. The Eastern Territories couldn't field half that number last season. He's been recruiting, another leader says, promising territory and spoils to any who join his cause. The question remains, Lord Fenris interrupts. Why attack now? After years of border harassment but no direct assault. All eyes turn to me. The king's expression reveals nothing. Lena has explained what she can, he says. She knows no reason for Darius's specific interest. Yet the message left at our gate indicates otherwise, Lyra challenges. A child supposedly abandoned, a trade proposed. There is no child, I say firmly. Darius lies to create division among us. Then why hunt you at all? Lord Fenris asks. What value do you hold? The question echoes the king's from last night, demands truth I've guarded too long. Silence stretches. The air feels heavy with expectation. I don't know, I say finally, the familiar lie bitter on my tongue. Lord Fenris sighs heavily. Then we fight blind, against unknown motivation. We fight for our territory, the king corrects, for our people. Motivation matters less than defense. The council turns to strategy after that. Positions, weapons, escape routes should walls fall. I stand silent, watching leaders argue and plan. The king participates fully, his authority evident even among equals. His knowledge of warfare impresses even those who disagree with him. I find myself studying him openly, the strength evident in his stance, the intelligence in his strategic suggestions, the care with which he considers risks to non-combatants, not the monster of legend, not merely the beast who tore out throats, a leader, a protector, a man. The council concludes with assignments, positions, responsibilities. The fortress preparing for possible siege. Leaders disperse gradually. I remain, unsure if dismissed or expected to stay. The king approaches when others have gone. You said nothing, he observes. You didn't need me to, I respond. The decision to fight was made before I arrived. True enough. He studies me closely. Though truth might have shaped our strategy. I told you. What you could, he finishes. Yes. So you've said. Frustration colors his voice. Disappointment, perhaps. I should return to Eli, I say, retreating toward the door. Lena. His voice stops me. If the worst happens, if the walls fall, Talon will lead you through the eastern tunnels, away from the fighting. You've planned our escape? I've planned for all contingencies. His expression softens slightly. Eli deserves safety, whatever comes. The thoughtfulness of this provision touches me unexpectedly. Thank you. He nods once, already turning back to the maps. To the war I may have helped create. I return to our chambers. Find Eli asleep, Sarah watching over him. The council? She asks as I enter. They plan for battle, I answer. For siege. She nods, unsurprised. It was always coming. Darius has wanted Ronan's throne since childhood. You've known them both that long? I delivered them both into the world. She smiles faintly. Watch them grow from cubs to wolves. This connection surprises me. You never mentioned that. The past matters less than the present. She rises, gathering her things. Get some rest. Tomorrow may bring battle. After she leaves, I check on Eli once more. Kiss his forehead gently. Then I move to the window. Stare out at darkened corridors. At warriors preparing for dawn. At a fortress readying for war. All because of secrets I keep. Truths I hide. My son sleeps peacefully nearby. Safe for now beneath stone and steel. Beneath a king's protection bought with half-truths. Outside, snow continues falling, covering the world in pristine white soon to be stained red. I watch until exhaustion claims me. Until worried thoughts surrender to uneasy sleep. Dream of golden eyes and blood-stained teeth. Of crowns made of thorns and promises wrapped in threats. One night under my claws, Omega, and I'll make you my queen. The words follow me into darkness, into dreams where truth flows freely from my lips, where trust replaces fear, where a king hears my secrets and doesn't turn away in disgust or rage. Pure fantasy, that last part. Some truths change everything. Forever. Morning dawns gray and threatening. Snow falls heavier now, driven by bitter wind. I wake to the sound of horns, deep, mournful calls echoing through stone corridors. Eli appears in my doorway, eyes wide with question. It's okay, I tell him, though uncertainty knots my stomach. Just signals. A knock comes urgently. I open the door to find Talon, fully armed, expression grim. They've been spotted, he says without preamble, moving through the forest toward the outer walls. Darius's forces? He nods. The king orders all non-combatants to the central hall. Bring only essentials. I dress quickly. Help Eli gather his few treasures, the slate, his embroidery, a carved wolf talon gifted him days ago. We follow streams of people through corridors, women, children, elders, fear evident in quick movements and hushed voices. The central hall stands deep within the mountain. No windows, multiple exits, stone walls 10 feet thick. The last defensible position should all else fall. Families cluster together on benches and floor space. Children cling to mothers. Elders whisper prayers or stories to distract the young. Sarah organizes medical supplies along one wall. I move to help her, needing occupation for restless hands. Will they breach the outer walls? I ask quietly. Eventually, she answers. They always do. The question is whether they penetrate the inner fortress. Has that happened before? Once. Her expression darkens. During Ronan's father's reign, when the southern territories launched full assault. The reference to my former home unsettles me. What happened? We survived. She straightens bandages with precise movements. At great cost. Hours pass in tense waiting. Occasionally, sounds penetrate even these thick walls. Distant horns, muffled shouts. Once, what might have been an explosion. Eli stays close, his small body pressed against mine. His eyes track every movement. His hand clutches the carved wolf tightly. Near midday, the great doors open. Warriors enter, some wounded, others helping injured comrades. The king follows, blood streaking his armor. Not his own, I pray silently. He confers with Talon near the entrance. Their expressions tell enough. The news isn't good. Sarah moves to join them. I follow without invitation, drawn by need to know. Breached the eastern wall, Talon reports. They have siege equipment we didn't anticipate. How many have we lost? Ronan asks. 17 confirmed, more wounded. The king's jaw tightens. And Darius? Not seen personally. His Lieutenant Morden leads the eastern assault. Ronan notices our approach. His eyes find mine briefly. Sarah, we need healers at the secondary barricade. Of course. She gathers assistance with a gesture. Lena, will you help? I nod without hesitation. Eli stays here? The children remain together. The king confirms. Under guard. I kneel before my son. I'm going to help the wounded, I explain. Stay with the other children. Listen to the guards. He clutches my hand, fear evident in his eyes. I'll come back, I promise. Be brave for me. He releases me reluctantly, watches as I follow Sarah toward the exit. As we pass the king, his hand touches my arm briefly. Be careful, he says, voice low. The simple concern warms something inside me. You too. The secondary barricade proves to be a large chamber halfway between the central hall and the fortress exterior. Wounded warriors lie on hastily arranged pallets. Healers move between them, applying bandages and herbs. I work alongside Sarah for hours, clean wounds, hold pressure against bleeding, comfort those beyond healing. The injuries tell the battle's story: claw marks from shifted attackers, arrow wounds, burns from mysterious explosives. They have weapons we've never seen, a warrior tells me as I bandage his shoulder. Fire that clings to skin, arrows that explode on impact. Southern technology, another adds. Darius has allies beyond the Eastern territories. The Southern connection unsettles me further, reinforces suspicions about why Darius hunts us so relentlessly. They know. They've always known. About Eli. About me. About the truth I've hidden since our escape. More wounded arrive throughout the afternoon. The barricade grows crowded. The news grows worse. Outer courtyard has fallen, Talon reports during a brief visit. We hold the main hall and inner walls. And the king? I ask before thinking. Something knowing flickers in Talon's eyes. Fighting at the western approach, leading the counteroffensive. Night falls outside, though we see nothing of it within stone walls. Torches provide the only light. Time loses meaning amid blood and pain. A commotion near the entrance draws attention. Warriors carry in a figure on a makeshift stretcher. The king. My heart stops momentarily. Restarts with painful force. I push through the crowd. Reach his side as they transfer him to an empty pallet. Blood soaks his left side. His face appears pale beneath dirt and battle grime, but his eyes open as I kneel beside him. Not as bad as it looks, he says, voice surprisingly strong. Let me see. I push aside torn fabric, find a deep gash along his ribs. What did this? Silver blade. His mouth tightens with pain as I probe the wound. Darius's specialty. Sarah joins us, bringing healing supplies. Silver slows healing, she explains, even for alphas. I know. I've seen such wounds before. Know the treatment required. Together, Sarah and I clean the injury. Apply herbs to draw out silver residue. Bandage tightly. You should rest, Sarah tells him when we finish. Let the herbs work. No time. He sits up despite our protests. They regroup for another assault. You're no good to anyone if you collapse, I argue. His eyes find mine, surprise evident. You sound concerned, Lena Moore. Don't be ridiculous, I mutter, though heat rises in my cheeks. I've invested too much time healing you to watch you undo my work. Something like amusement flickers in his expression, then determination. 1 hour, he concedes. Then I return to the defense. Sarah moves to help other patients, leaves us in relative privacy amid the crowded chamber. How bad is it truly? I ask quietly. The battle. His expression sobers. They outnumber us, have weapons we didn't anticipate, but we hold advantages in territory knowledge. Can you win? Victory isn't always survival, he says. Sometimes it's ensuring those who matter survive, even if you don't. The implication chills me. You speak of sacrifice. I speak of duty. His hand finds mine suddenly, warm despite blood loss. If the worst happens, follow Talon through the eastern tunnels. They lead beyond the mountain, to safety. And you? I stay. His voice leaves no room for argument. This is my territory, my responsibility. Your death wish, you mean? The words emerge harsher than intended. You still punish yourself for failing to save your family. Anger flashes in his eyes. You know nothing of my motivations. I know guilt when I see it, I counter. I carry enough of my own. His expression shifts, anger fading to curiosity. What guilt burdens you, Lena Moore? The question strikes dangerously close to truths I've hidden, to secrets that might change everything between us. Before I can respond, Talon appears at the pallet edge. My king, he says urgently. They've breached the main hall. They come from below. Ronan stands immediately, ignoring the wound in his side. How many? 20, perhaps more, led by Darius himself. My blood turns to ice. Eli, I whisper. He's in the central hall. The king's expression hardens. Gather what fighters remain here, he orders Talon. We move now. I stand too, gathering clean bandages and herbs. I'm coming with you. Too dangerous, Ronan objects. My son is there. My voice leaves no room for argument. I'm coming. Something shifts in his expression. Respect, perhaps. Understanding, certainly. Stay behind the warriors, he says finally. This isn't your fight. It became my fight the moment they targeted my son, I respond. We move quickly through stone corridors, join with other warriors heading toward the central hall. The sounds of battle grow louder as we approach, metal against metal, shouts, snarls of shifted fighters. The great doors stand open when we arrive. Chaos reigns within. Rogues clash with fortress defenders. Blood stains stone floors. Bodies lie motionless amid the fighting. My eyes search frantically for Eli. Find children huddled in a far corner, protected by a ring of warriors. Relief floods through me, then freezes as I spot a figure approaching that corner from a side passage. Tall, lean, hair pale as winter sun, eyes that gleam with malice even from this distance. Darius Blackfang. The king sees him too. His body shifts instantly, bones cracking, fur erupting. The great black wolf stands where the man had been. He charges across the chamber, intercepts Darius before he reaches the children. They clash in a fury of teeth and claws, alpha against alpha. Ancient enemies renewed in blood and hatred. I push through the crowd, desperate to reach Eli. A rogue blocks my path, sees me, grins with recognition. The Omega, he growls. Darius will reward me greatly for you. He lunges forward. I dodge, reaching for the knife hidden in my sleeve. The blade flashes as I slash outward. Silver cuts across his forearm. He howls in pain, retreating momentarily. I press forward, knife ready. Fighting skills long unused returning with desperate need. Across the chamber, Ronan and Darius continue their deadly dance. Blood darkens both their coats. Neither yields. Neither shows weakness. I reach the children's corner. Find Eli pressed against the wall, eyes wide with terror. Eli, I call, pushing through the protective ring of warriors. Eli, I'm here. He launches himself into my arms, clings with strength born of fear. We need to move, I tell the guards. Get the children to the tunnels. They nod agreement. Begin shepherding the group toward a side exit. A howl of pain draws my attention back to the center of the hall. The king lies motionless on the stone floor, shifted back to human form. Blood pools beneath him. Darius stands above him, shifted to human as well. A silver blade gleams in his hand. The mighty Alpha King falls, he announces, voice carrying through the suddenly quieter hall, as all tyrants must. My heart stops, my lungs freeze. No, I whisper. Darius turns, searching the crowd. His eyes find me across the distance. Recognition flares. "The Omega returns to me," he calls. "How convenient." The guards push me behind them. Form a wall between Darius and the children. "Get them out," the lead guard orders me. "Through the eastern tunnel. Now." I turn to obey, to flee with the children while defenders buy time with their lives. Then I see the king move. Slight, almost imperceptible, but definitely movement. He lives. Darius turns his back, addressing his rogues, celebrating premature victory. The king's eyes open. Find mine across the chamber. A message passes between us without words. Distract. Delay. Give me time. I make my decision in that moment. Place Eli in the arms of another mother. "Take him," I order. "Follow the guards. Don't wait for me." "Lena, no," she protests. "Go." I push them toward the exit. "Keep him safe." I turn back toward the center of the hall, toward Darius, toward truth, long hidden. "Darius Blackfang," I call, voice stronger than expected. He turns, smile spreading across his face. "The Omega speaks." "I speak," I agree, stepping forward, moving away from the retreating children. "To challenge your claims." "What claims, little one?" He moves toward me, predatory grace in each step. "You say the king falls." I gesture toward Ronan's seemingly lifeless form. "I say the North endures beyond any single ruler." Darius laughs. Brave words from a southern breeder. I continue forward, continue drawing his attention, away from both king and children. "You claim to hold my daughter," I say, voice carrying. "I claim you lie." "Do I?" His smile widens. "Perhaps you've forgotten what you left behind in your flight." "I left nothing." My voice hardens. No one, especially no child. Behind him, the king moves again. Subtle, gathering strength while attention focuses elsewhere. "The Southern Alpha disagrees," Darius says. "He offered quite the reward for your return, for the return of what you stole." Understanding dawns. "This isn't about me," I say, "or any imaginary daughter. This is about Eli." "The boy." Darius nods. "The Alpha's heir." The truth hangs in the air between us, the secret I've guarded with my life. "My son is no heir," I say firmly. "He's a child. Nothing more." "A child with Alpha lineage." Darius steps closer. "The last of the Southern Alpha's bloodline. The rightful heir to Southern territories." The king rises silently behind Darius, soundless, deadly, gathering strength for one final attack. I need to keep Darius talking, keep him focused on me. "Eli is my son," I say. "His father was a beta guard named Marcus." "Lies," Darius spits. "The child carries the former Alpha's blood. His successor wants the boy eliminated. The bloodline ended permanently." Horror washes through me at this confirmation of my worst fears. "He's 7 years old," I protest. "Just a child. A child who threatens the current Alpha's legitimacy." Darius shrugs. "Politics requires certain sacrifices." "And you?" I challenge, still buying time. "What do you gain from hunting us?" "Alliance with the South. Territory. Power." His smile turns cruel. "The pleasure of watching Ronan Vale lose another child he foolishly tried to protect." The king strikes, silent, deadly, without warning. His claws slash across Darius's back. His teeth find the vulnerable neck. Darius screams, tries to shift. Too late. Blood sprays across stone floors, across my face and clothes, across the king's grim features. Darius falls, twitches once, lies still. Silence falls across the hall. Rogues stare in shock at their fallen leader, at the king standing blood-soaked above him. "Your Alpha is dead," Ronan announces, voice carrying despite obvious pain. "Surrender or join him." Weapons clatter to the floor. Rogues drop to their knees. The fight drains from them with their leader's death. The king's eyes find mine across the blood-stained floor, questions evident in golden depths. I hold his gaze steadily. The truth hangs between us now, unspoken but known. Eli is the son of the Southern Alpha, the child of the man who tried to claim me by force, who killed my friend Marcus when he intervened, who would have killed me too had I not fought back, had I not fled with the child he never knew existed. The heir to the Southern Territories, the last threat to a usurper's rule, the reason we've been hunted for 3 years, the secret I kept even from the man who protected us. Warriors secure the remaining rogues, healers attend the wounded. Order returns gradually to chaos. The king approaches slowly. Blood stains his skin. Fresh wounds mark his chest and arms, but his eyes remain clear, fixed on mine. "You heard?" I say simply. He nods. "Everything. And now? Now we find Eli." His voice softens. "Ensure he's safe." Not the response I expected. Not condemnation. Not rejection. "You don't..." I hesitate. "The truth doesn't change things?" "It changes everything," he corrects. "And nothing that matters." He extends his hand toward me. An offer. A question. I take it without further hesitation. His fingers close around mine, warm despite blood loss and battle. "Let's find your son," he says simply. Our son, I almost correct. But he isn't. Not by blood. Not by right. Yet something in the king's eyes, in the gentleness with which he's always treated Eli, suggests bloodlines matter less than choices, than protection freely given, than love offered without obligation. We move together through corridors now secured by northern warriors, toward the eastern tunnels where children found safety, where Eli waits, unaware of revelations and fallen enemies, toward truth finally spoken, secrets finally shared, toward possibilities I hardly dare imagine. We find Eli with the other children in a large chamber deep within the mountain. Relief washes over his face when he sees me. He runs forward, launching himself into my arms. "I'm here," I whisper, holding him tight. "I'm right here." He pulls back, eyes examining me for injuries. Finds blood spattered across my clothes. "Not mine," I assure him. "I'm not hurt." His gaze moves to the king standing behind me. Concern fills his expression. "The king fought bravely," I tell Eli. "His wounds will heal." Ronan steps forward, kneels despite obvious pain to meet Eli at eye level. "We're safe now," he says simply. "All of us." Eli surprises me by reaching toward Ronan, touching a cut on the king's forehead with gentle fingers. "I'm fine, little one," Ronan assures him. "It takes more than rogues to fell an alpha king." Something passes between them, understanding beyond words. Then Eli turns back to me, writing quickly on his slate. "Home now?" The question catches me unprepared. What is home now? Not the fortress necessarily. Certainly not the Southern Territories where danger still waits. "We'll figure that out," I tell him. "First, we need to help the wounded." Sarah approaches, medical supplies in hand. "Including you," she tells Ronan sternly. "That silver wound needs attention." "Later," he responds. "The fortress requires—" "Talon handles the fortress," she interrupts. "You need healing." For once, the mighty Alpha King yields to authority greater than his own. We follow Sarah to a makeshift healing chamber. Eli stays close, refusing to leave my side even when other children invite him to play. Sarah treats Ronan's wounds with practiced efficiency. I assist, familiar now with northern healing techniques, with the particular way silver poisoning affects alpha physiology. "You'll carry scars," Sarah informs him. "Silver prevents complete healing." "More scars matter little," he responds. "Add them to the collection." His eyes find mine as Sarah continues working, questions still evident in their depths. Patience, too. "Eli should rest," I say when Sarah finishes. It's been a difficult day. Use my chambers, Ronan offers. They remained untouched during the attack. Sarah will show you. And you? I ask. Duty's call. He stands with careful movements. The aftermath requires attention. I want to say more. Need to say more. The truth revealed in battle's chaos demands discussion. But not now. Not with Eli watching. Exhaustion evident in his drooping shoulders. Later, I say. A question more than statement. Ronan nods, understanding my meaning. Later, he confirms. Sarah leads us through quieter corridors. The sounds of cleanup echo distantly. Orders given, debris cleared, wounded tended. The king's chambers surprise me with their simplicity. Large, but not opulent. A massive bed draped with furs. A fireplace already burning with welcome heat. Windows overlooking snow-covered mountains. Rest, Sarah instructs. Food comes soon. She leaves us alone. Eli explores briefly, then collapses onto the bed. Exhaustion claims him almost instantly. I sit beside him, stroke dark hair from his forehead. My son. My whole world. The heir to territories he's never seen. The truth feels strange now, exposed after years of hiding. Eli is the son of the Southern Alpha, conceived during a single night of forced submission, born in secret, his existence hidden until the Alpha's death, when his successor learned of rumors, of an heir who might challenge his claim to power. We've run ever since, changed territories, changed names, hidden among humans sometimes, among less prestigious packs other times, never staying long enough for questions about Eli's parentage. Until now. Until a king found us in a broken cabin. Until safety offered became safety needed. Until truth revealed changed everything and nothing at all. I don't realize I'm crying until tears fall on my hands. Silent release after years of constant fear. Of vigilance that never wavered. Of running that never ended. You're safe now, a voice says quietly. I turn to find Ronan in the doorway. Hours have passed without my noticing. Night fully fallen outside the windows. I thought you had duties, I say, wiping tears quickly. Completed for now. He enters, moving carefully. His wounds still pain him despite healing begun. Talon oversees the rest. He sits in a chair across from the bed, observes Eli sleeping peacefully. He looks like you, he says finally. Yes. No point denying genetic truths. Nothing of his father, thankfully. The Southern Alpha. Not a question. Confirmation of truth already heard. I nod. Reginald Cole. I knew him, Ronan says, surprising me. A cruel man, ambitious, ruthless. Yes. The description fits perfectly. He tried to force me as his mate. When I refused, he took anyway. Marcus, a guard who'd shown me kindness, intervened afterward, died for it. And Reginald never knew about the pregnancy. No. I stare at my sleeping son. I fled that night, hid among humans until Eli was born. We might have stayed hidden forever if Reginald hadn't died, if his successor hadn't learned rumors of a potential heir. Anton Cray, Ronan supplies. The current Southern Alpha. He allied with Darius recently. Now I understand why. To find Eli. My voice hardens. To eliminate the threat to his rule. A child, Ronan says, disgust evident. They hunted a child. They hunted the bloodline, I correct. The last legitimate heir to Southern territories. Silence falls between us, heavy with implications, with futures suddenly uncertain. What happens now? I ask finally. Now you rest, Ronan answers. Heal. The fortress requires rebuilding. Decisions can wait. Decisions about us, you mean? I meet his gaze directly. About our presence here. Your presence was never in question, he says firmly. Not from the moment I found you. Even knowing the truth? That we brought this danger to your door? The danger existed before you arrived, he counters. Darius sought my destruction regardless. You merely provided additional motivation. That doesn't comfort me. It wasn't meant to. His expression softens slightly. Merely truth between us. Finally. The subtle emphasis on finally stings despite its justice. I couldn't tell you, I say quietly. I couldn't tell anyone. I understand secrets kept for protection, he responds. Better than most. Yet you're angry I didn't trust you sooner. He considers this, head tilted slightly. Not angry. Disappointed, perhaps. That you believed I would harm a child. Or return him to those who would. Guilt tightens my chest. I've trusted no one for 3 years. Habit becomes difficult to break. Yes. His eyes hold mine. I remember that lesson well. We sit in silence again. Eli sleeps on, unaware of conversations determining his future. Our future. Stay, Ronan says finally. Not as prisoner or guest, as pack. The offer steals my breath. Pack? The Northern Territories need skilled hands. His voice remains casual, though his eyes hold deeper meaning. A seamstress of your talents. A child with Eli's intelligence. Both would find welcome here. Under your protection, you mean? Under Northern protection, he corrects. As full pack members, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. The offer tempts more than I want to admit. Stability, safety, community after years of isolation. And when the South demands his return, I ask? When Anton Cray sends diplomatic envoys rather than rogues? He won't. Ronan's certainty surprises me. Not after today's defeat. Not after Darius's death by my hand. The message carries sufficient warning. You sound very confident. I am. His eyes hold mine. No one threatens what's under my protection. The 5 territories understand this fundamental truth. The possessive undertone sends shivers through me. Not entirely unpleasant ones. What of Eli's heritage? I ask. His claim to southern lands? A boy needs home and safety before titles, Ronan says firmly. When he's grown, choices become his to make. Wisdom in those words. And kindness I still struggle to reconcile with the Alpha King's fearsome reputation. You offer much to strangers, I observe. You stopped being strangers months ago. His voice softens further. Somewhere between a cabin in the woods and a fortress under siege. The truth in his statement resonates uncomfortably. We haven't been merely strangers for quite some time, though what we've become remains undefined. I need time, I say finally, to consider. Of course. He stands carefully. Take what time you need. He moves toward the door, each step measured against pain still evident. Where will you sleep? I ask suddenly. These are your chambers. I have others, he answers. Rest well, Lena. He leaves before I can respond. The door closes softly behind him. I lie beside Eli, mind racing despite exhaustion. The king offers pack membership, protection, permanence after years of transient existence. Why? What motivates such generosity toward an Omega and a child not his own? A child whose very existence brought war to his borders? Questions without easy answers follow me into uneasy sleep. Morning brings chaos of a different sort. The fortress bustles with repair efforts. Injured receive continued care. The dead, both defender and attacker, receive proper rights. Eli and I help where we can. He assists Sarah sorting healing herbs. I work with other women preparing food for hungry warriors and laborers. The king remains visible throughout, directing repairs, visiting wounded, ensuring needs met. Always in motion despite injuries still healing. Always watching when he thinks I don't notice. Days pass in similar pattern. The fortress gradually returns to normal function. Outer walls undergo repair. inner chambers cleansed of battle remnants. Eli continues his embroidery during quiet moments. The wolf design nears completion. His dedication to the gift touches me deeply. I find him one evening, tongue caught between teeth in concentration as he works on the final details. "It's beautiful," I tell him truthfully. "The king will treasure it." Eli beams at the praise, adds a few more stitches, then holds up the finished piece. The wolf stands proud against a background of northern pines. Simple but recognizable, done with love rather than skill. "Should we give it to him now?" I ask. Eli nods eagerly, slides from his chair, clutching the embroidery hoop. We find Ronan in his study, bent over maps and documents. He looks up as we enter, surprise evident in his expression. "Forgive the interruption," I say formally. "Eli has something for you." The king sets aside his work immediately, gives my son his full attention. "What is it, little one?" Eli steps forward, presents the completed embroidery with solemn ceremony. Ronan accepts the gift with equal solemnity, studies it carefully. "You finished it," he observes. Even more impressive now. Eli's face glows with pleasure. He pulls his slate from his pocket, writing quickly. "Keep you safe," I read aloud. Something shifts in the king's expression, softens the hard lines carved by responsibility and loss. "Thank you, Eli," he says, voice unusually gentle. "I will treasure this always." My son nods, satisfied with the response. Then, surprising both of us, he steps forward and hugs the king briefly. Ronan freezes momentarily. Then his arms encircle Eli's small form with careful gentleness. My throat tightens at the sight. This feared Alpha King, embracing a child not his own with such tenderness, accepting a crude gift with genuine appreciation. The moment passes quickly. Eli steps back, returning to my side. "We should let you return to work," I say, voice slightly unsteady. "Actually, I hope to speak with you," Ronan responds. "If Eli would allow us a moment." My son nods agreeably, points toward the library visible through a connecting door. "Go ahead," I tell him. "I'll join you shortly." Eli disappears into the book-lined room, leaving us in uncomfortable privacy. "He's quite remarkable," Ronan says, placing the embroidery carefully on his desk. "Yes." Pride warms my voice. "He always has been." "Have you considered my offer?" he asks, changing subjects abruptly. "About remaining here, joining the pack." I've thought of little else for days, weighed options that seem increasingly limited. "I have questions first," I say, "about expectations, conditions." "None beyond normal pack obligations," he answers. "Contributing skills, following northern laws, participating in community. And our status? Would we be subordinate members? Given our origins?" "You would be full members," he says firmly, "with all protections and privileges thereof." I study him carefully, search for hidden motivations beneath generous offers. "Why?" I ask directly. "Why offer so much to us?" He meets my gaze steadily. "You know why." The simple answer carries complex implications, feelings unspoken but evident in his actions, in the way his eyes follow me, in the gentleness he shows Eli. "I'm an unmated Omega with another Alpha's child," I say bluntly. "Hardly an advantageous connection for the Northern King." Advantage means little against other considerations. Such as? Something shifts in his expression. Vulnerability briefly visible beneath strength. "Such as peace after years of emptiness," he says quietly. "Purpose beyond vengeance. Reasons to return home beyond mere duty." The admission strikes deeper than expected, touches something tender within my own carefully guarded heart. "I don't need rescue," I tell him. "Neither does Eli." "I know." A smile touches his mouth briefly. You've made that abundantly clear since the moment you tried to stab me in that cabin. The reminder draws reluctant laughter. Not my finest moment. On the contrary, his eyes warm. It was the moment I realized you were unlike any Omega I'd encountered. Heat rises in my cheeks. Stop. Why? Does honesty between us disturb you so much? Honesty requires reciprocation, I counter. What exactly are you offering, Alpha King? Pack membership? Protection? Or something more personal? Direct questions deserve direct answers. He straightens, meeting my challenge. All of those, he says simply, in whatever measure you're willing to accept. The admission hangs between us, clarifies unspoken tensions present for months. I'm not her, I say quietly. Your mate. I can never replace her. I don't ask you to. He steps closer. She exists in memory. You stand before me in life. With complications you never anticipated. Life brings little worth having without complications. His hand lifts, hovers near my face without touching. Say yes, Lena. Stay. The request, simple words carrying profound implications, steals my breath. I need to consider Eli first, I say, voice unsteady. His needs, his safety. Of course. He steps back, respecting boundaries I've maintained for months. Take whatever time necessary. I retreat toward the library where Eli waits, pause at the doorway. Thank you, I say, turning back. For everything you've done for us. I've done nothing you wouldn't have managed yourself eventually, he responds. Your strength has never required my intervention. The compliment warms me unexpectedly. Recognition of capabilities rather than weakness. Respect rather than pity. I join Eli among the books, find him absorbed in illustrations of northern wildlife. The ordinary moment feels precious after battles and revelations, after offers that could change our lives permanently. Stay, the king asked. Simple request, complicated answer. I watch my son turn pages with careful fingers. See contentment in his expression for the first time in years. Security that extends beyond mere physical safety. Perhaps the answer isn't so complicated after all. A week passes. The fortress returns to normal rhythms. The Alpha Council departs for their respective territories, carrying news of Darius's defeat. Eli and I establish routines that feel increasingly permanent. Mornings in the sewing rooms where I teach and learn in equal measure. Afternoons with Sarah, who continues Eli's education in writing and northern customs. We haven't formally accepted the king's offer of pack membership, but neither have we declined. Limbo stretches between decision and indecision, between possibility and commitment. The king maintains respectful distance, present but not imposing, available but not demanding. I find him in the training yards one cold morning, supervising warriors despite his own injuries still healing. His eyes find mine as I approach, surprise evident in his expression. Lena, he greets me. Is something wrong? No. I gesture toward a quieter corner. May we speak privately? He dismisses the warriors with a nod, follows me away from curious ears. I've been considering your offer, I say without preamble. About staying, joining the pack. Interest sharpens his gaze. And? If we stay, I begin carefully, I need certain assurances about Eli's future. Name them. His heritage remains private knowledge, I say. At least until he's old enough to understand its implications. He nods agreement. Of course. He needs education, training, opportunities I can't provide alone. The fortress has teachers, masters in various disciplines. All would be available to him. I take a deep breath. The final request proves most difficult to voice. And I need independence, I say firmly. Not protection that becomes possession, not safety that becomes captivity. Understanding dawns in his expression. You fear trading one form of control for another? Yes. Reasonable concern, given your experiences. He considers my words carefully. Independence within pack structure can be arranged. You would maintain separate quarters, make decisions regarding your own work and Eli's daily life. And if we chose to leave eventually? Pain flashes briefly across his features, quickly masked. That right would remain yours, he says formally, though I hope you would find no cause to exercise it. The double meaning beneath his words doesn't escape me, the personal hope beyond official assurances. Then yes, I say finally. We accept your offer. We'll stay. Relief softens his expression. I'm glad. There's one more thing, I add, heart suddenly racing. A personal matter. His attention sharpens again. I'm listening. Whatever exists between us, I say carefully, whatever has developed these past months, it needs time. Space to either grow or fade naturally. Define whatever. He challenges gently. Heat rises in my cheeks. You know what I mean. Perhaps? A smile touches his mouth briefly. But clarity serves us better than assumption. He's right, of course. Honesty required after secrets kept too long. Attraction, I say finally. Interest, possibility. All accurate descriptions, he agrees. His voice drops slightly. Though inadequate to my experience, the admission sends warmth spreading through my chest. Nevertheless, I continue, time is needed, for both of us. Agreed. He steps closer, still maintaining appropriate distance, though I admit patience has never been my greatest virtue. Then develop it, I respond, drawing unexpected laughter from him. Demanding already, he observes. A queen indeed. The reference to his earlier words, one night under my claws, Omega, and I'll make you my queen, brings heat to my face again. I should return to the sewing rooms, I say, retreating slightly. Marta expects me. Of course. He steps back, respecting boundaries I've established. Thank you, Lena. For what? For staying, he says simply. For giving the North a chance to become home. The word resonates more powerfully than expected. Home. Something we haven't had since fleeing the South. Since before that, really. I leave him standing in the training yard, feel his eyes follow until I disappear inside. The decision made settles something within me. Direction established after years of constant flight. Purpose beyond mere survival. Eli notices the change immediately. Writes on his slate that evening. Staying? Yes, I confirm. We're staying, becoming part of the pack. Joy transforms his small face. He writes again, home now. Yes, I agree, throat tight with emotion. Home now. He adds another word that stops my breath. Family? The question contains layers of meaning, of understanding beyond his years, of observation I hadn't credited him with. We're always family, I say carefully. You and me. He shakes his head, writes again. King too. Heat rises in my cheeks. That's complicated. Eli gives me a look far too knowing for his 7 years. Adds a final word. Good. I can't argue with his assessment. Can't deny possibilities that grow with each passing day, with each interaction that builds trust where fear once lived. Spring arrives gradually. Snow melts from courtyard stones. Fortress windows open to fresh breezes. Life continues, somehow both changed and unchanged by winter's battles and revelations. The formal pack inclusion ceremony occurs on the first truly warm day. The entire fortress gathers in the main courtyard. Eli and I stand before the assembled pack members. The king performs the ritual personally, places his hands on our heads in turn, speaks ancient words of acceptance and protection. By blood and bond, he concludes, voice carrying across the silent courtyard. I name you Pack, Family, North. The assembly erupts in cheers, in celebration that continues well into evening. Food and drink flow freely. Music fills courtyards once echoing with battle cries. Eli joins other children in games and dances. His silence doesn't exclude him from their acceptance. His slate passes between small hands, communication established beyond words. I watch from a quiet corner, contentment unfamiliar after years of constant vigilance. "Happy?" a voice asks beside me. The king stands there, formal robes exchanged for simpler clothing. His expression holds genuine interest in my answer. "Yes," I admit. "Happier than I expected to be." "Eli certainly thrives." He gestures toward where my son plays with other children. "I've never seen him so animated." "He needed this," I say softly. "Community, stability, other children. As did you, perhaps." I don't dispute the observation. Perhaps. We stand in companionable silence, watching celebrations unfold. The distance between us feels both appropriate and increasingly artificial. "Walk with me?" he asks suddenly. I nod, curious about his invitation. We leave the main courtyard, follow less populated paths toward the fortress gardens. Spring has transformed them from frozen stillness to vibrant life. "I have something for you," Ronan says as we walk. "A pack inclusion gift." "That wasn't necessary," I protest. "The ceremony was enough." Nevertheless, he withdraws a small object from his pocket, offers it on open palm. A pendant gleams against his skin, silver shaped into a wolf's head, eyes formed from tiny amber stones. "It's beautiful," I say truthfully. "It was my mother's," he explains. "Then my mate's. Now yours, if you'll accept it." The significance of this lineage steals my breath. "Ronan, I can't possibly—" "You can," he interrupts gently. "It belongs to the Northern Queen." "I'm not queen," I remind him. "Just newly made pack." "Not yet," he agrees. His eyes hold mine. "But possibility remains, does it not?" The directness of his question catches me unprepared. We agreed to give time." "We did," he acknowledges. And I respect that agreement. The pendant represents possibility, not certainty. Hope, not demand. Put that way, the gift carries different meaning, potential rather than obligation. "Then yes," I say finally. "I accept it, with gratitude." He steps behind me, places the pendant around my neck with careful movements. His fingers brush my skin briefly as he secures the clasp. I turn back to face him, find him watching me with intensity that sends warmth spreading through my chest. "Thank you," I say softly. "It suits you," he responds, voice equally soft. As does the north. We continue walking through gardens now blooming with early flowers. The pendant rests against my skin, both foreign and somehow right. "Spring comes early this year," Ronan observes. "The passes will open soon." Yes. The reminder brings unexpected discomfort. Travel becomes possible again. Does that thought still tempt you? Leaving? I consider the question honestly. "No," I admit finally. "Not anymore." Satisfaction warms his expression. "Good." We reach a stone bench set among flowering bushes. Sit side by side, closer than propriety might dictate, but not uncomfortable. "Eli asked if you were family now," I say suddenly. Surprise flickers across his features. "What did you tell him?" "That it was complicated." A diplomatic answer. Amusement touches his voice. "Though perhaps unnecessary." "How so?" "Children see differently than adults," he explains. More directly, without the complications we impose. "And what do you see?" I ask, surprising myself with the directness. His eyes find mine, hold steady with unnerving intensity. "I see possibility," he says simply. "Hope after years without it, light returning to shadows long endured." The poetic nature of his response surprises me. This feared Alpha King, speaking of light and hope rather than conquest and territory. You're not what stories claim, I observe. Neither are you, he counters, the fierce Omega with her silver blade. The mother who crossed territories to protect her son. We become what circumstances demand, I say. Warrior or ruler, protector or survivor. And now? He asks. What do present circumstances demand? I consider the question carefully. Adaptation, perhaps. Learning to live rather than merely survive. A worthy challenge, he agrees. One I share, in my own way. Understanding passes between us. Common ground found in different journeys. In losses and recoveries unique yet parallel. The pendant warms against my skin. Physical reminder of connections forming, of possibilities unfolding. We should return to the celebration, I say eventually. Before we're missed. He stands, offering his hand to assist me. I take it, a choice rather than necessity. His fingers close around mine briefly before releasing. We walk back toward music and laughter, toward a fortress becoming home, toward a future uncertain but increasingly hopeful. Time stretches before us. Space to discover what grows between former enemies, between Alpha and Omega, with histories that should preclude connection rather than encourage it, between a king and a woman who once fled all he represents. Hope feels unfamiliar after years without it. Dangerous, perhaps, but irresistible all the same. Seasons change. Summer blooms across northern territories. The fortress opens fully to warm air and longer days. Eli thrives within pack structure. His writing skills improve dramatically under Sarah's tutelage. He makes friends among pack children, finds acceptance despite his continued silence. I establish my place within the community. My skills in southern embroidery techniques prove valuable. I teach younger Omegas, learn northern patterns from elders. Find purpose beyond mere survival. The king maintains respectful distance he promised. Present but not imposing. Interested but not insistent. We speak often. Share meals occasionally. Build cautious friendship where wary distance once existed. The pendant remains around my neck. Reminder of possibilities still unfolding. Of patience exercised despite evident interest. Autumn arrives with cooler winds and changing leaves. The fortress prepares for winter's return, for passes that will close again with heavy snow. I find the king in his study one such evening. Reports spread across his desk. Responsibility evident in the lines of his face. You work too late, I observe from the doorway. He looks up, surprise giving way to pleasure. Lena, come in. I enter, closing the door behind me. Eli asked to visit Sarah tonight, some project they're working on together. Healing lessons, he explains. Sarah believes he has talent for it. The information surprises me. She hasn't mentioned that. Recent observation, I believe. He sets aside reports, gives me his full attention. Is something wrong? No. I move further into the room. I thought we might talk, without interruption. Interest sharpens his gaze. I'm listening. I gather courage carefully. Words rehearsed still difficult to voice. We spoke of time, I begin. Of space for whatever exists between us to either grow or fade naturally. Yes. He remains perfectly still, watching, waiting. It hasn't faded, I say simply. Something shifts in his expression. Hope carefully contained. No, he agrees. It hasn't. I touch the pendant at my throat. You spoke of possibility, of hope. I did. I find myself sharing that hope, I admit. More strongly than expected. He stands slowly, moves toward me with careful restraint. Explain more strongly, if you would. Heat rises in my cheeks at his deliberate echo of our earlier conversation, his insistence on clarity between us. Attraction, I say, repeating my earlier description. Interest, possibility. All still accurate, he agrees, stopping an arm's length away. Though still inadequate to my experience. And what would be adequate? I challenge gently. His eyes hold mine. Desire, he says, voice dropping slightly. Connection. Need. The words send warmth spreading through my chest, down my spine, into places long dormant. Bold declarations, I observe, voice steadier than expected. Honest ones, he corrects. As promised between us. The distance separating us feels both necessary and unbearable, a final barrier between possibility and reality. I take a single step forward, reduce the space without eliminating it. I'm not her, I say again, the necessary reminder. No, he agrees. You're Lena, fierce, independent, entirely yourself. With complications you never sought. With strength I never anticipated, he counters. With courage that humbles me daily. Another step closer, almost touching now. I'm afraid, I admit quietly. Of me? He asks, genuine concern evident. Of this. I gesture between us. Of trusting again. Of needing. Of wanting. Understandable fears, he says softly. Given your experiences. And yours, I add. You lost everything once. Pain flickers across his features, acknowledgement rather than denial. Yes, and feared letting anything matter again. What changed? I ask, genuinely curious. You, he answers simply. You and Eli. Courage witnessed, strength observed, life continuing despite unimaginable loss. His honesty deserves equal truth in return. I've never chosen an alpha, I say quietly. Never wanted one, until now. The admission hangs between us, changes something fundamental in the air we share. May I touch you? He asks, voice rough with controlled desire. I nod, heart racing beneath my ribs. His hand rises, cups my cheek with unexpected gentleness, his skin warm against mine. Last chance to retreat, he warns softly. I've maintained distance because once crossed, some lines disappear forever. I don't want to retreat, I whisper. Not anymore. Something breaks in his expression. Control carefully maintained for months fracturing visibly. He leans forward slowly, giving me time to withdraw, to reconsider. I remain still, waiting, wanting. His lips touch mine, gentle at first, testing, questioning. I answer by stepping closer, by letting my hands rise to his chest, by returning pressure against pressure. The kiss deepens gradually, becomes something hungry, needful. His arms encircle me, pulling me against him. Heat blooms everywhere we touch, desire long denied awakening with fierce intensity. His scent surrounds me, pine and smoke and male. His strength supports rather than constrains. We break apart eventually, both breathing harder. His eyes have shifted to wolf gold, evidence of control strained, but not broken. That was, I struggle for words. Inadequate, he suggests, smile touching his mouth. Though promising. Laughter bubbles unexpectedly, breaks tension without diminishing connection. Promising indeed, I agree. His hand strokes my hair back from my face. What happens now, Lena Moore? The question contains layers of meaning, of futures suddenly possible, of choices newly available. Now we continue, I say simply. One step at a time. Together? He asks, the single word carrying profound weight. Together, I confirm. Satisfaction transforms his expression, not triumph or possession. Something deeper, more meaningful. The pendant suits you, he observes, fingers touching where it rests against my throat, as does the north. As do you, I admit quietly, despite every expectation otherwise. He laughs, the sound still rare enough to treasure. Fate enjoys irony, it seems. Or perhaps healing, I suggest. For wounds we both carried too long alone. His expression sobers. Wise observation. We stand close, neither willing to separate completely. The first step taken. The path forward uncertain but promising. Eli will return soon, I say eventually. I should go. Of course. He steps back reluctantly. Though we have much still to discuss. Tomorrow, I suggest. Perhaps a ride beyond the fortress walls? The weather holds fair. I'd like that. His eyes hold mine. Very much. I move toward the door. Pause with hand on the latch. Good night, Alpha King, I say, formality deliberately playful now. Ronan, he corrects, echoing our first days. My name is Ronan. Good night, Ronan, I amend, smiling. Sleep well, Lena. I return to chambers that feel increasingly like home. Prepare for Eli's return from Sarah's lessons. The pendant remains warm against my skin. My lips still tingle from the king's, from Ronan's kiss. Possibility becomes probability. Hope becomes expectation. One step at a time, together rather than alone. The future unfolds before us, uncertain but promising. A path neither of us expected to walk when fate brought us together in a broken cabin amid falling snow. A path all the more precious for its unexpectedness. Epilogue. 6 months later, spring returns to the Northern Territories. Snow retreats from courtyard stones. Gardens emerge from winter dormancy. The fortress awakens to warmer days and gentler nights. I stand at the window of our new chambers, larger quarters befitting changed status. Watch as Eli plays in the courtyard below with other pack children. He still doesn't speak. May never speak again. But his silence no longer equals isolation. His slate passes between friends with easy familiarity. His gestures and expressions communicate as effectively as words. Happy? A voice asks behind me. I turn to find Ronan watching from the doorway. His expression holds genuine interest in my answer. Now, as always. Yes, I say truthfully. Happier than I thought possible. He crosses the room, stands beside me at the window. Together we watch Eli racing across the courtyard, laughing silently with his friends. He thrives here, Ronan observes. We both do. I lean against him slightly, feel his arm encircle my waist. Against all expectations. Against all obstacles, he corrects gently. Not quite the same thing. The distinction matters. Acknowledges difficulties overcome rather than impossibilities defeated. 6 months since our first kiss in his study. 6 months of careful steps forward, of boundaries respected, of trust built upon solid foundation, of nights increasingly shared, of passion discovered, of connection deepening beyond physical attraction. The pendant still hangs around my neck. Now joined by another symbol, a ring of northern silver set with amber stone. Formal recognition of what grew between former enemies, between Alpha and Omega, with histories that should have precluded connection. Not mates in the traditional sense. Not yet. The bite that would formalize our bond remains uncommitted. By mutual agreement, that final step waits for absolute certainty from both sides. But committed nevertheless. Partners in rebuilding what loss had broken, in creating family where emptiness once reigned. Sarah says Eli's healing skills progress rapidly, Ronan says, continuing to watch my son below. Natural talent, apparently. Pride warms my voice. He works hard at it. As his mother worked at surviving, he observes. Determination runs in your bloodline. The compliment pleases me more than expected, recognition of strength rather than fragility. The council arrives tomorrow, Ronan reminds me, for the spring gathering. I remember. Annual meeting of Northern Pack leaders, my first as official consort to the Alpha King. Everything is prepared. They'll be surprised by the changes since winter, he says, amusement evident. By us, you mean? By many things. His arm tightens slightly around my waist. The Northern King with an Omega consort, treaties with Eastern territories once aligned with Darius, trade routes reopened with the South. The last development remains most surprising. Anton Cray, current Southern Alpha, sent envoys shortly after winter thawed. Not with demands for Eli's return as feared, but with proposals for normalized relations, formal recognition of Eli's status as Northern Pack member, renunciation of any claim on him or me, trade agreements benefiting both territories, peace purchased with prosperity rather than blood, wisdom unexpected from the man who once hunted us across territories. Do you think Cray's offers are genuine? I ask, the question still troubling despite months of successful negotiation. Yes, Ronan answers without hesitation. He secures his own rule by removing Eli as potential challenger, gains favorable trade terms in the process. And if he betrays these agreements later, then he faces Northern response. Ronan's voice hardens slightly. A response he now understands would be definitive. The possessive protectiveness still surprises me sometimes, different from control I once feared, security rather than captivity. And Eli? I ask the question that remains most important. When he's grown, will he feel cheated of heritage, of birthright? He'll have choices, Ronan says firmly. Knowledge of his lineage when appropriate, freedom to determine his own path when grown. And if that path leads south, then we support his journey, he answers simply, while ensuring his safety through every means at our disposal. The we warms me unexpectedly. Partnership in parenting a child not biologically his. Commitment to Eli's well-being regardless of blood connection. You'll be an excellent father, I observe, when the time comes. His hand moves to my abdomen, rests against the slight curve just beginning to show beneath my dress. I hope so, he says, voice suddenly vulnerable. Though the prospect terrifies me sometimes. The admission of fear, honest, unguarded, represents how far we've traveled from wary distance. You won't be alone, I remind him. We face it together. Together, he agrees, the word carrying weight beyond its simple sound. We watch as Eli concludes his game below, waves up at us with cheerful acknowledgement. Shall we tell him tonight? Ronan asks. About the baby? Yes, I decide. He should know before others notice. He'll make an excellent brother, Ronan predicts. Protective, caring. Yes. I have no doubt about this. Have watched Eli's gentle nature emerge fully since finding safety, since threat no longer dictates every interaction. We leave the window, move through chambers that reflect our blended lives. Northern furnishings alongside Southern textiles I've created. Weapons displayed beside books. Strength beside knowledge. Later, we'll tell Eli about the child growing within me. We'll watch his face for reaction. We'll answer questions written on his ever-present slate. We'll continue building family from broken pieces, creating home from disparate origins. Later, we'll prepare for council meetings. We'll face political complexities together rather than separately. We'll navigate territorial disputes and trade agreements as partners rather than opponents. But for now, this moment holds everything necessary. A fortress that protected, a man who healed, a child who thrived, a future unfolding with possibilities once unimaginable. For now, we stand together in chambers warmed by spring sunlight, connected by choice rather than circumstance, by love rather than necessity. For now, we are simply home, together, finally.